Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me properly? Sorry for the long wait. There was some technical difficulties going on at the last second, so apologies. I did not expect any of that to happen. But these things, as always, you can't predict them. These things always tend to happen. So, how have you all been? I could see that you were all getting involved in some really nice, friendly conversations as I was setting up the stream. So that is really great to see. I've got such a very, very nice community here. It always makes me smile to see you guys interact. Oh, it's great to see all of you here. And let's see, where is Randino and Indilu? I hope I've said that right. Goes perfectly. Finally a live stream I can participate in. Yes, I remember we were talking about that. You said you had trouble tuning into these live streams. So I thought I would do it earlier this time just to get some more of my audience in, because you're not the only one. Time difference around the world can be a problem. So yeah, exactly. So that's why I thought I'd do this earlier, so you can tune in, and others of you could tune in as well who have trouble. The Movie King 3000 already, before I even started the stream, put in a super chat. So thank you very much. The super chats, I can't stress enough how much they really do help keep the channel going. They really do support me. So thank you very, very much for the super chats. So the Movie King 3000 says, the more I think about it, the more I realize that John Krasinski was a wasted opportunity and was just relegated to just fan service in Doctor Strange 2, when he and his wife could have been perfect. That is, I agree with that. But thing is, funnily enough, I did not really like John Krasinski's performance in Multiverse of Madness. But I don't blame him necessarily, because you find out when you look at the behind the scenes that he was there, but I think he was by himself. I think he wasn't there with the rest of the actors, because Marvel shoot everything separately. And also, he wasn't even in the suit. The suit was CGI, so it was Marvel putting more strain on the special effects team, as they always do. So I can't fully blame him, because it doesn't seem like the way you should act when you are filming a movie. You should have all your actors with you. But yeah, he wasn't there. So he was acting towards nothing, so probably that was awkward for him. But so if they put him up against actors, I'm sure he would have done a better job, and if they properly directed him. But you can tell these were just quick cameos they put in there, because there were a lot of other cameos that were going to be in there too. Apparently Daniel Craig was one of the people originally in that room, and they even spent money building him a costume and everything. But the last minute they threw him out, and they threw many other cameos out at the last minute. There was a rumor that Tom Cruise as Iron Man would have been in there as well, as a multiverse version of Iron Man. So they throw a lot of stuff out, and they keep shooting stuff at the last second, so I'm sure he didn't even really have much time to prepare. Plus, from what I hear, Emily Blunt doesn't seem to really be a fan of comic book movies, so I think even though John Krasinski is into it, I don't really think that she is, so I don't know if they would have been able to play husband and wife. Kidding Cell says, I don't know if you're streaming this long, but I have to leave at 2, just a heads up. We'll see. I never normally plan how long these streams are going to be. I just plan what I'm going to cover, and then I go on for as long as I usually want to. Logan, hi to you too. Ethan's Drawing says, hey Eric, sorry that I'm late. Hope you had a great day today. I have had a great day. I know you're not late. We're getting more and more people coming in, so that is great to see. So good to always see you guys tuning in on the live streams. Really, it is. Arathon999 says, the Hunger Games is selling out screens where I work. That is great to hear, because I've heard the reviews have not been that good. And it's funny, but it was either watching that movie, The Hunger Games, or it was watching Thanksgiving. At least in my head, it was either one of those two movies. Me and my brother, we both went to go see Thanksgiving, which is the movie I'm going to review towards the end of the stream. Jacob Gene Productions gives a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Hey Eric, how are you? This is Yaku the Volcanic Muto, by the way. Oh, right. Because I did think this was a new viewer that I was having who did a super chat. Thanks very much, Yako. It's always... I'm sure you guys have your reasons, but it's always a shame whenever that happens, because it's hard for me to kind of like remember who when you guys change your usernames, to remember which ones you are. And I'm so connected to the name Yaku the Volcanic Muto. I always respond to your comments as whenever I can. And to see that you're bear with me, to see that you're got a new username, that is going to be tricky for me to get used to and to remember that it's you. So Yeah, thank you very much for the super chat, and I'll try to remember that that's you. So, George Phillips says, I've heard Thanksgiving is a fun time. Well, stay tuned for the live review. I've got pictures, and I've also got a story of a bad cinema experience I had when watching that movie, which I will show you with imagery as to what was wrong when I was there. I'll give you one little hint right now. It had nothing to do with the audience, for once. The audience was actually good. This was purely a compromised cinema experience because of the cinema itself. So that's the little tease I'll give you, and we'll talk about that afterwards. Eric, do you prefer playing video games on TV or handheld? I used to love playing them on TV, but I gotta say, I always love handhelds. To me, I feel like I can't really play much on a PS4 anymore. I was playing on a PS5 with Spider-Man 2, and I felt like I was out of obligation I had to do it. The first Sandman boss battle was great to play on a bigger screen, but everything else I'd much rather prefer playing on my Steam Deck, which, if you saw that new graphic I've got at the beginning where I show you all the Patreon tiers, you'll notice, in fact, let me just show it up because this is the first time that I did it. You'll notice if you look at the $5 perk where it says Early Access and Gaming, you'll see I've got a new logo there called GAMESHOW. This is a new show that I've been planning to do on my Patreon for a while, and for those of you that are long-term viewers of my channel, you'll know I did a game show called 3-Minute Reviews. I since cancelled that show because it wasn't doing particularly well, but that was a show that I really enjoyed doing, and people have been asking me to do more gaming content. The only thing is, I've become a very sort of like easy-to-follow movie channel is what I've become now. And putting games in there, like the odd video game video, would just be very weird. It will throw off the algorithm, and it will throw off viewers who subscribe to me purely for my movie videos. So I've decided to do a game show, but on my Patreon. So, like I said, with each perk, I try to give as much perks as I can for each tier. And the game show is a brand new show, which I'm going to start getting into soon. So if you're interested in any of these perks, of course, Let's Watch. I've got a lot of Let's Watch coming up, including of Invincible Season 2, which I'm going to be watching very soon. I just recovered fully from my cold, so I'm going to start getting to watching that very soon. But yeah, I've got a game show coming up, and I've got tons of Let's Watch, which is already done, and tons more that I will be doing. So yeah, that's something I thought I'd give you a little update on. So I've ordered the OLED Steam Deck, which is going to be the new Steam Deck, and I will be doing some videos. It's my plan to do an unboxing on my Patreon, and then show you what games I play, show you my library, my Steam collection. I've even got PlayStation 4 games back there, which you can't see right now because the Steam Deck is actually covering them. Normally you could see them in the background. But I even intend to show you my PS4 game collection. I even intend to show you my PSP game collection, and so many other things. So that's going to be a perk that is going to give you a lot of the gaming sort of like side of my channel. So you're going to see a lot of if there's any gaming questions you have, you're going to be seeing a lot of that being answered through my game show on Patreon. So with that said, shall we move on to the 3 stories we're going to be talking about here? So first thing that we're talking about is going to be Pedro Pascal as as Reed Richards. Now, this is being rumored that he's going to be in it. He's not been cast yet, but some scoopers and stuff online, reliable scoopers, are saying that he's already signed on, but we'll see what happens. But Pedro Pascal being offered for Reed Richards, I gotta say, when I saw that announcement, I rolled my eyes so hard. I mean, he doesn't resemble the character at all. He's a very good actor, but Reed Richards, I don't see him as Reed Richards. Give him another comic book role, but not Reed Richards. Now, again, don't get me wrong, he is a great actor, but it feels like they're just putting him in here because he's becoming a name, especially for being, you know, a dad. The Mandalorian, which I could show you right here, you know, The Mandalorian. He's also now in The Last of Us. He was also in Wonder Woman 1984, where he played a dad in there. And I feel like they're just giving him a lot of dad roles. And it really is just... It feels almost like they're typecasting him, but in the worst kind of way. And it's kind of becoming irritating. Kidding Cell did a super chat. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Have you seen the first 2 episodes of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters? No, I want to, and I intend to, but I've not seen it yet, and I will be watching it on my projector. Although I've heard that the monsters, you only get like 1 monster per episode or something from what some people have been saying, but we'll see. Just to clarify, because I forgot to say it to people, during the live stream, I will glance at the comment section and see what the input is, but I won't really answer any questions. Questions, if you do want me to answer them during these stories, you got to put in super chats. That way I can see them, and those will get priority. So for super chats, I will answer the questions immediately. If not, stay tuned for the Q&A, which will be right towards the very end of these stories. But if you want your question in now, super chats is the way. It helps support the channel, helps keep me going, and it allows us to continue having live streams and videos and streams like this one as well. So anyway, back to the story. Now, apparently Reed Richards and Sue both have kids in this movie too. So yeah, I bet they are hiring him for his dad status, because he's going to be another dad. So, and Marvel like to be too meta, even with Miss Marvel at the end in the very last scene when she speaks to Kate Bishop and she's trying to quote Nick Fury from the credit scene in the first Iron Man. It's like, how would she know that? She wouldn't know that, but Marvel were being very meta, so the joke came first over the logic and common sense. And I feel like they're trying to do a very meta thing here too and make him a dad. And I don't like that they're just doing that. It's just, the dad thing with him was funny at first, but now it's starting to get annoying, especially when they cast him in these bigger roles where you want to see someone really good do the job. Now, let's continue as I was saying. Now, as well as the fact that he is on the rise to becoming a name, and most importantly, will take whatever they pay him, because no one else apparently they went to would take the role. They are not hiring. Now I'll tell you this: they are not hiring him because he is the right fit for Reed Richards, and he's not even their first choice. They went to several other actors and offered them the role first, and I'll go through some of those names right now. But first, before I do, MovieFan2002 has left a super chat. Thanks again very much for the super chat. I keep saying it really does help. Are you going to do a versus video of each season of both the original Avatar: The Last Airbender versus the Netflix series when that comes out? Yes, I intend to. And I hope Netflix only do their new release strategy where they do half the season first, like say the first 5 episodes, for example, if there are 10 episodes in the season. They'll do the first 5 episodes for the first month, and then they'll do the next 5 episodes for the second month. If they do that, it would make my job so much easier, and I can just do a more detailed first versus video with the first 10 episodes of Avatar, for example, versus the first 5 episodes of the Netflix show. Because the Netflix show apparently is going to be 40 minutes each, which basically is 2 Avatar episodes in one. So that's why I would have to watch, double the Avatar animated episodes. So hopefully that way the story will be at the same point in the story, and I can just compare the first half of each season. So that is my intention. I really hope they split the season into 2, like what they did with You and a few other shows. So yeah, like I said, thanks again for the super chat. I really appreciate it. So they went to several actors, and all these rumors were coming out that they went to this actor, that actor, that actor. One of the actors they went to was Adam Driver, Kylo Ren, and he apparently said no because he wanted more money and Disney didn't want to pay him. It's kind of like when they went to Margot Robbie to play Sue Storm, and she said no because she also wanted more money as well, and they wouldn't want to pay her either. So Marvel do seem to really want to get a name for these Fantastic Four actors, which is interesting, but we'll get to that in a bit later as to why I think that's interesting. Now, they also went to Matt Smith, the other Doctor who also apparently didn't like the role, and he also said no because he didn't like it. And then they also went to Jake Gyllenhaal, who also didn't want the role either. And so many other actors have declined the role as well, such as Dev Patel, who also apparently said no. So this is all rather interesting. And aside from wanting more money, the other rumor I heard is that these actors didn't even really like the role and wanted it rewritten if they signed on. So that says a lot right now, which makes you wonder, how bad is this script, and how bad is the portrayal of Reed Richards? Given the MCU's string of releases recently, I think those are very valid questions, seeing as their recent movies and shows have not really been on that good standing with audiences, with the exception of Loki Season 2. Now, the movie is apparently supposed to be focusing on Sue Storm as the lead, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I would have preferred if the movie focused on all 4 characters, but unfortunately, no, that's not what they are doing, which really is a shame. Because I liked what the first Fantastic Four movie, the 2005 movie, I really like what that did with his 4 characters in terms of splitting the screen time between all 4 of them. I really did like that better than what, they're trying to do here, which is make Sue Storm the lead. Patrick Style says, of course, it's a female. It's like, yeah, that's what I thought, because Marvel seem to be going through that rut where it's like they're really prioritizing boys versus girls, like I said, over just natural storytelling. If they did it naturally and they came up with it from a creative point of view, I would have no problem with it. But Disney's problem in general is that they seem to be doing it more from a boys versus girls political point of view, rather than a creative point of view. Like, say, what Spider-Verse, those movies did. Now, like I said, the movie's supposed to be focusing on Sue Storm as the lead, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest, but like I said, I would have preferred if the movie had focused on all 4 of the characters. And so I wonder if that is one of the reasons for why these higher level actors didn't want to be in the movie. And they have been in some stinkers too, such as Matt Smith, who was in Morbius. So really, how bad is the script for this movie if it got him to say no? And like I said, when you take into account Marvel's recent string of bad movies, that is something that you have to kind of ask yourself. It's like, normally we wouldn't have to, but now we kind of do. So it says a lot about Marvel and their quality control that we're now saying, wait a minute, how bad is this script? So that's another thing. And now we have Soumitra Ghosh. I am so sorry. I'm very bad at this. Have you watched the latest Hunger Games movie? No, I haven't. I want to, though, and I will watch it when it comes out on streaming, because I have a projector and I don't feel like I need to go to see the movie for that. But who knows, if I get plenty of requests, if you like this format, maybe I'll watch it and do a live stream review like this. And now we got another super chat from Movie Fan 2002. Thank you again very, very much for the super chat, guys. Thoughts on the upcoming 2025 Avatar The Last Airbender movie that is set 12 years after Sozin's comet? I didn't know it was set 12 years after his comet. Huh, that's actually interesting. I knew it would be coming out in October 2025, but I didn't know it would be taking place then. I'm really excited. That is something I'm the most excited for. I don't really care about the Netflix show coming out. It would only be cool just to see a few things in live action, like, say, the bending. But ultimately, I don't really need to see it in live action. I've seen the animated show so many times. It's so perfect. You don't need it in animation. But yes, this I'm looking really forward to. And my parents are looking forward to it too, and that says a lot. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thank you both very much for the super chats. Now let's get back to the story. So yeah, how bad is the script that even Matt Smith said no, and he said yes to Morbius? Normally these are questions we would not have to ask about the MCU. We'd just think, oh, maybe it's a money problem, but now it's a quality problem, because if all these actors are saying no, it just makes you think, why are they saying no? It can't be just for the money, because yeah, they'll be given less money, but then what will happen? If they be in the next movie, they could eventually say, alright, now we want to increase our contract price. They could do something like that, but the fact that they're not, they're just saying no, even though they know the whole thing about Marvel is setting up building blocks, it does make me feel very cautious. Like I should be careful and not think, oh, Marvel have it under control. Have they had anything under control lately? So, yeah, that's really concerning. Also, little side note thing, but why is the MCU trying to get a name actor? Because the MCU is notorious for getting no-named actors and turning them into stars. Look at Robert Downey Jr., for example, Chris Hemsworth, even Tom Hiddleston. But with this, they seem very adamant to only get named talent. When we hear like Adam Driver, Matt Smith, Jake Gyllenhaal, Dev Patel, even the actor who was from the show You, apparently they even wanted him in there as well. So it kind of makes you think, why are they trying to do that? Is it the situation now where they are not confident that they can sell a movie with their Marvel name anymore, so they're trying to bring people in with trending actors? So they're trying to bring, audiences in with trending actors. That's the thing that's making me think. It seems like they're not confident anymore. So yeah, that's one of the things that I think. And I gotta say, I thought the casting for those Tim Story Fantastic Four movies, I thought it was fantastic. No pun intended. I'll try that again. I thought the casting for those Tim Story Fantastic Four movies was excellent. Whatever the problems of those movies, the cast was not one of them. I thought they had really good chemistry with each other, and they were a lot of fun to hang out with. That's mainly why I still enjoy these movies. It's because of them. It's why I still enjoy Fantastic Four 1 and 2. Even Chris Evans was perfect for the Human Torch at the time, seeing as he played a lot of Playboy-type characters back in the day. So yeah, I don't agree with the casting of Pedro Pascal for Mr. Fantastic. It just seems so off-point to me. But what do you guys think? Do you think he's great casting, or do you think that Marvel really have just had like a list of actors that they wanted to go through, and Pedro Pascal was more at the bottom of the list, and they've finally gotten to that part of the list now? So what do you guys think? Jacob Jean Productions, Yako says, but I do like the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies, and at least with Fanforstic made me get some sleep. That is very true, yeah. Fanforstic, that was a terrible movie, yeah. But yeah, the Tim Story movies, I feel like they got the tone right. They also got the characters right. What they didn't get right was the story, and was the execution of the villain. So, if they got that right, if they got the story right, I feel like the characters and the music, which was fantastic, I love the main theme, that theme for the Fantastic Four, and the actors and the tone, I feel like they had that all down. It really was just the story that they needed more to work on more. So, Darksaber says, honestly, he was the last person I thought Marvel were going to cast. Yeah, but they do seem quite desperate, don't they? You know what? I'm going to put a poll out there. Who wants a poll? Where I can let you guys vote whether you think Pedro Pascal should be Reed Richards. Yeah, okay, should Pedro Pascal be Reed Richards? Yes. No. I'll put unsure as a third option. So that means unsure means if you think there's potential, he might be able to do it, he might not. I'm more in the center. I'm willing to see, but I'm not sure. That's what unsure is there for. But yes and no, those are definitive. So I'll start the poll right now. Okay. Oh, what happened to the chat here? You guys vote. Let me just bring up my chat. The chat just disappeared. Had a glitch. There you go. The chat's back up. I can see all of you. Oh, you're all saying that you all want a poll. There you go, then. Yeah, go right ahead. I can see the votes coming in. And we'll end the poll at some point. If there are any more questions that you have regarding this, Pedro Pascal, let me know and I'll answer them. Daniel Caleb says, no, I do not want him as Reed Richards. Put it down in the vote and we'll take a look at the results. The Fox says, Kyle goes, Marvel went from everyone want to be in their movie now to it's a shit show. Yep, I do agree. And they've still got... have you heard that movie Wish? I made a video on Wish where I said it was very unremarkable. I was not impressed with the animation. Interestingly, that movie seems to be last I checked, was gotten a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. So people do not seem to be happy with that movie. It looks exactly as I thought it did, going by the trailers. Arathorn999 says pointless race bending. I don't know if it was pointless race bending because he's got still a very light face. So for me, that's not the problem. The problem is, I mean, just look at him. I've got him on my screen. I don't see that as Reed Richards. If you look at the comic picture right there that I've got, look at Reed Richards there, and then look at Reed Richards in the 2005 movie. That's a better comparison between them. And if you remember the Fantastic Four Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think is what it was called. World's Greatest Heroes, I think is what it was. Let's see. I'll put this into the live stream. There you go. You see this? This was the show I used to watch when I was a kid of Fantastic Four. Yeah, it was called World's Greatest Heroes. The Reed Richards you see in this World's Greatest Heroes is very much the Reed that we got in the 2005 movie. It looks like they modeled it after the comic and after the actor in the movie. So, yeah, that's the look you want to go for. And if I just get rid of that, and then you see this, that does not look like a Reed Richards to me. I'm sorry, it really doesn't. You can put grey out his hair with the grandpa look on the sides if you wanna. It just doesn't look like Reed Richards to me. So, yep, let's take a look. 43 of you have voted for the poll. Let's end the poll. There's 66 of you that are watching, so for a couple more of you have come into the stream. So I'll let you click on the poll as well. If more people are going in for the poll. Alright, I'm going to end the poll in 3, 2, 1. End. Now let's take a look at the results. If it will show me the result. Where is the poll? Where did the poll go? Oh, this has never happened before. Usually the poll always stays, but it's disappeared. Oh, that is not good. I did see that about 48% were unsure from what I could see. What did you guys last see the numbers at? It has a 58% is what Kidding Cell said. Unpopular opinion, Ultimate Spider-Man wasn't that bad. Ultimate Spider-Man the show? It shows it on chat. Oh, there it is. Pff, why did it take such a long time? It never took that long before. Alright, so, oh wow. There you go, now it's in the poll. So, 42% of you said no, he should not be in it. 40% of you said unsure. And 16% of you said yes. Ooh, that's not many people saying yes, is it? So, yeah, it does seem like we're all kind of iffy on it. It doesn't seem... I'm not against him playing a comic book character in a movie, or trying again, I should say, because he's already done it in Wonder Woman 1984, which was a dumpster fire. But I don't like this role for him. I don't think it's a good choice. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So, any more questions regarding this before we move on to my review for the Thanksgiving movie? Brian Arathorn999 says Bryan Cranston as Galactus or Silver Surfer. I don't know if that's something that's actually put out there, or if you're asking me that. But I don't know. Maybe as... I could maybe see him doing Silver Surfer as the voice. Because if you remember, it was Lawrence Fishburne that did the voice in The Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I thought that was a fantastic interpretation of Silver Surfer. He looked great from the effects point of view. His voice sounded great. It just fit. I really liked him. The way they did it. But, yeah, and I've heard a rumor that the Silver Surfer is going to be a woman, that they're going to gender bend him. We'll see if they stick through with that, because I think after the Marvels, it was a very sobering sort of like hit for Marvel. So I'm very certain that they would try not to do that now, because investors are not going to be happy. The audience is clearly not happy. They're not showing up to see Marvel streaming shows or to see their movies. The numbers on both are quite low for a huge brand like Marvel. So we'll see what happens, but it doesn't seem like people are quite impressed right now. So, all right. Now we're going to move on to our movie review. So, I'll do the movie review, and then we will go on and talk about my theatre experience, which was not a good one. I will say, though, let's go back. The one last thing that I will say is that this is something that I also heard. Now, apparently Reed Richards is going to be a jerk in this movie. Now, in the comics, he's meant to be kind of a jerk and dismissive to Sue. But here's my question. Is he going to be a jerk like the MCU made Tony Stark in the early MCU movies, like in Civil War? Or are they going to make him a toxic male kind of jerk like they did with Bruce Banner in She-Hulk and Nick Fury in Secret Invasion? That's what I'm wondering. And with the amount of actors that have all said no, according to reliable inside Hollywood scoopers online, it makes me think that it's going to be the latter, because that seems to be where Marvel are going down under now. So, yeah. So I think that Reed Richards is a role to look out for and be cautious about, seeing as a lot of named actors are saying no. And isn't it funny that a lot of actors are saying no to a Marvel movie? Back in their prime, people would be dying to be in the MCU. I think one of you said that in the Super Chats. But now they are getting a lot of no's. How the mighty have fallen. So yeah, alright. Let's go back and now talk about Thanksgiving. Now, this is a movie that I heard was coming out, but I did not watch any trailers or reviews for the movie. Me and my brother planned to watch a movie in theaters 2 days ahead of time, and this is the one we picked out. And I was surprised to find that the opening of the movie was awesome. The opening of the movie is during Black Friday, and as you would expect, much like in real life, it's an army of people running towards the store like a bunch of hungry zombies. They don't care about human life, they don't care about manners. At this point, just like in real life, they have become animals. And this movie might seem exaggerated to some, but no. I actually thought this was right on the money. If anything, I even thought it was downplayed compared to what we see in real life. And during the scene that I'm talking about in the opening of the movie, some people die and it gets out of hand. And then we cut to a year later, and now there is a killer out there with an axe who is trying to take revenge on some of the Black Friday shoppers who contributed to the brutal chaos that took place. And then we get a slasher movie, which is very much in the vein of Scream. So it's a whodunit kind of slasher movie. In fact, in the third act, this movie reminded me of the early 2000s slasher movies a lot, and it even reminded me a bit of Final Destination, especially with one of the kills. And I thought the concept was incredibly smart, the whole Black Friday concept. We got the Time Shadow, who's done a £2 super chat. Thank you very, very much for that super chat, buddy. He goes, and the Time Shadow goes, this is the first super chat that it says, thank you very much. I was going to say congratulations. Thank you very much for your first super chat. And yeah, congratulations to your first super chat. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. And the Time Shadow says, I beg you, do a Stranger Things versus video, please. We'll see. I was going to do a review of Stranger Things Season 4, but it never materialized. It was just such a long video that was going to be done. But I didn't like Stranger Things Season 4. That was the first season I did not like. And then you take into account what Noah Schnapp is doing recently, I feel like I would just be more cruel to that show now. But, yeah, for those of you that have not heard, yeah, Noah Schnapp has been saying some really kind of like dim-witted stuff online and insensitive stuff online that's surrounding real-world tragic events. And it's not good how the attitude he's taking to that. It was not really, really bad. But anyway, that's my answer to that question. We'll see if I do Stranger Things related stuff, but right now I've got so much stuff ahead of me. But I will say Stranger Things Season 3 is my favorite season, then Stranger Things Season 1, and then Season 2, and then Season 4. That's my ratings right now. So, going back to the review, I thought the concept of the Black Friday opening was incredibly smart in this movie. We rarely see movies where Black Friday is made fun of. I think Krampus did at the beginning, and that was very funny, but that was just the opening title sequence. This had like a whole opening, which was essentially the setup of the film, and to see them do it in this movie was great. And the horror sequences were a lot of fun too. They weren't really that scary, but there were a handful of scenes that I thought were intense. And the killer has a messed up sense of humor, which really lent to the film's dark comedy. So there was a lot of dark comedy in this movie. Stuff that me and my brother both laughed at. It was really funny. And yeah, I found all that stuff to be fun. And it was a very bloody time. A very gory, fun, bloody time. And that's about it for all the stuff that I liked. I know what you guys must be thinking, but look, I did not hate this film, but I did think there were more problems with it than there were good. First off, I didn't like the characters. In fact, I was actively waiting for them to get picked off one by one. And mystery slasher movies like this would usually provide some fun with the characters when they are trying to figure out who the killer is. But A, you don't care. So much so that, like, you don't care of our main characters, which one of them is the killer. And so much so that I forgot what the odd name of their characters was, as a matter of fact. And they didn't have motive enough to where you would suspect them, so it wasn't really fun to try to figure it out. And on top of that, the killer's design that you can actually see, his face is covered, but it's basically just a mask that he's wearing. Like, kind of like a V for Vendetta, somewhat kind of mask. And the killer's design, his wardrobe, kind of rules out the suspects in a way, because the guy is quite tall, and you can tell it's clearly a guy in there. And the shame where you can't really point fingers is because they hired some really short actors in this movie, and you can easily rule most of them out, and that was a problem. I was like, okay, it's clear the movie's trying to make it seem like it's him, but it's clearly not him. Look how short he is. The killer was this height compared to our main female character. But this guy, like, the killer was like this height compared to main female character, who is very similar in height. But then this boy is like this height, this guy, and I'm like, is he supposed to be this killer? There's no way. So I was like, that is cheap. That was bad casting. You need to hire people that can kind of fit the description. That's what Scream did. It's why you pointed the finger at a lot of people, and you didn't know. So I thought that as far as the whodunit goes, I thought they did a bad job in that regard, because it's easy to just say, it's not that one, it's not that one, it's not that one. But that wasn't the worst part for me. The worst part for me is that I figured out who the killer was and their motivation in the first 10 minutes of the movie. My first guess ended up being right. And let me tell you, I am not usually good at figuring this stuff out. But with both Death on the Nile, which was the Murder on the Orient Express sequel, and now Thanksgiving, I surprised myself as to how I got everything down. There was one detail that I didn't know, but you can tell that was so easily tacked on at the last second, so yeah, that was such a... I felt like that was a cheap little detail to add, but I got everything, and it was my first guess. That doesn't happen to me, and I didn't have fun predicting who it was going to be, because I was like, that none of these people have motive enough to where I would say that is the person that did it. The one person that did have motive enough was too obvious, and you knew the movie wasn't going to go for that character because it was too obvious. But then the other one, where you know they're trying to make it seem like something else, I was like, you know what? That is the killer in my head. And then by the time as we're going through the movie, I was like, play dumb. I know you're the killer. You've got to be, because anyone else would be just so disappointing. If anyone else missed it, it would be a cool reveal, but to me, I was like, it's just too obvious. This is the most interesting character to make the killer for these reasons, these obvious reasons that were not explained, and I was 100% right. So that pretty much just made me think, yeah, this was not a very good killer reveal story, I've really got to say. And give me a second here. This is what happens when you do a live stream. You go through notes. You usually do. But yeah, that last detail that they just added, which I did not predict, it felt like a cheap tacked on thing that they said in the script. Just add that. It'll make it a little bit more fleshed out. But to me, I was like, yeah, it was pretty good. But I figured out everything else, and it was just too predictable to me. Really, it was. But yeah, that is what made this movie just meh to me. The mystery should be just as fun as the kills. Like, seriously, the mystery should be just as fun. And unfortunately, it wasn't. It was predictable. And this movie felt very much like a knockoff Scream movie. And as good as the blood and gore was, there were times where it looked so cheap and fake. So even the deaths, there were times where I'm like, that was a good one, that was a good one. This one looked so fake. I will say, one involving a trampoline, to me, was one of the best sequences. It really made me like squirm in my seat. But there was another death in that sequence which also felt very much like the slasher was superpowered, like a Jason Voorhees kind of character, and that was a bit over the top. Jake DeBrune has done a $28 super chat Wow, thank you very, very much for that. So like I said, these super chats, you guys have no idea how much it helps support the channel and help keep me going. So thank you so much. Jake, thank you very, very much. All of you, thank you very much. He goes, do you feel like season 4 got too dark? Anyways, I think you're talking about Stranger Things season 4. It did get too dark in places, but it got too dark in places where it shouldn't have, like the kids trying to hunt for what they thought was a cult of Dungeons and Dragons. I was fine with it at the beginning, but it went on for way too long to where it got ridiculous. So that's what I thought of that. It did get a bit too dark in places, but the villain, getting dark with the villain, I did like that, though. Anyways, I feel like a lot of horror movies tend to forget we're not supposed to root for the killer slash villain slash monster. By the way, have you seen Total Killer? You may or may not like it. Is Total Killer with that, especially that looking like a Happy Death Day kind of movie? Because I did see the trailer for it. I saw the first few seconds and I got out of the trailer because I was like, this looks too cheap. The jokes do not work. They're not funny. I was like, I like the concept of this, but the execution just completely fell flat. So if that's the movie that came on, was it Amazon Prime recently? I did not watch it because I did not like how it looked. I thought every joke fell flat on his face, but my dad did watch it and he said exactly what I thought. He goes, yeah, the jokes are not funny. He sat through it, but he didn't really like it. So, yeah, I'm not going to watch that movie unless I really have nothing else to do. But I feel like at that point, I've got so many other choices. But thanks very much for the super chat. And to wrap up the review for Thanksgiving, like I said, it felt very much like a knockoff Scream movie. And as good as the blood and gore was, there were times where it looked so cheap and fake. That being said, the kills were fun in this, especially one sequence that involved a boarded up house where the victim tries to escape. And they made the movie fun and to me worth a watch in the end. So, and if you're looking to have a fun time out, like me and my brother were, this movie will do that for you. And as for what score I was going to give it, well, just like the last live stream when I was reviewing the Marvels, I wanted to give the movie a decimal score again. It's somewhere in between 5 and 6. But I'll just give it a high 5 out of 10. It was a fun, average, gory slasher film, and if you go in with your expectations in check, then there is fun to be had. And maybe if you did not predict the killer, maybe you'll enjoy it more, but for me, I expected better. This did feel like just a knockoff Scream movie. It felt very cheap in that way. But it is by no means the best in its genre. But I didn't find it to be the worst either. It did its job in providing a fun time, so that's my review of Thanksgiving. Now, do any of you have any questions regarding the movie Thanksgiving? Do you have any questions? Are you curious about anything? Any things you want to know? Be sure to write the questions down and I will answer them for you. And looks like we also have a £5 super chat from the Fox's Kyle. Thank you very, very much for your super chat. Have you ever been in a cinema when you're the only one in the cinema? Happened to me when I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's film. Wow. When did you watch the Five Nights at Freddy's film? Because from what I heard, the theaters were absolutely packed. Well, I'm trying to think. There must have been. I feel like there definitely must have been. I do remember when I watched Frozen 2 for a Versus video, there was only, I think, 3 people in the cinema. There was a mother and her 2 daughters, I think. And I was like, I feel a little funny being like the only guy sitting in this theater watching Frozen 2. I don't know why it was pretty empty. Maybe it's because I went during the day on a weekday when kids were at school, so maybe that's why. But yeah, there wasn't really many people watching the movie. And I remember watching Pokemon 3, the movie, when I was a kid with my dad, and there was only about 2 people in the theater then as well. Actually, I think I know another movie that was completely empty. It was when me and my parents went to go see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think we did have the theater all to ourselves. Like, literally, just us 3. So that was actually interesting. That was the most recent. So yeah, it has happened to me. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what time you went, Kyle, because like I said, but then again, actually, come to think of it, the Five Nights at Freddy movie did have very huge drops on its second weekend, so there was that. So maybe that's when you saw the movie and there was less people, which in that case, it wouldn't surprise me, because it did come out on streaming day and date, so I'm surprised as many people went to see it in the theater as they did. So now, just to quickly mention, Thanksgiving had a $15 million budget, so I thought they used their budget really quite well, considering how much blood effects there were. I do think that the movie was a bit too well lit at times. I think it could have had a bit more of a grittier color palette, and that would have helped to set the atmosphere more, and it would have helped make the blood look more grotesque. Because it's kind of funny that the director of this movie is someone who's known for making very bloody movies. Let me find his name. What was his name? Eli Roth, that was it. The director is Eli Roth. He's known for doing very bloody movies, like really bloody. And this movie, it felt like he pulled back a lot, quite honestly. There was one scene where a guy threw up, and I was like, alright, that's Eli Roth right there. And there's probably one messed up scene with someone getting burned, I'll just say that, and what happens to their body later, and I was like, alright, again, that's Eli Roth-like, but he felt very pulled back in this, which was quite surprising. But I thought $15 million budget was spent very well, but I still think they could have done a better job with just some of the blood and some of the practical effects, I think, that were going on, because I feel like they mixed the practical effects with CGI effects, and sometimes it was just CGI effects, and I think they should have balanced it better. Maybe gone all practical, and it would have been more effective than what they ended up doing. But it was still a fun time. But the movie wasn't great. It was okay. It was worth a watch. It was fun to watch in the theater, I will say that. Connor Pendlebury goes, my whole theater was packed when I saw the Mario movie, and surprisingly, no one made any noise. That is surprising. By no noise, did they also not laugh? Me and my brother, I was going to go watch the Mario movie on my own for the Versus video that I had to do. I asked my youngest brother, I said, do you want to come as well? He says, yeah, he'll come, and we both watched it, and our theater was also packed. The Mario movie was packed a lot, so we actually had to choose a different time to go than what we originally wanted to go. And then we both went, and we didn't even sit in the best seats. But it was good enough when we actually sat there. And yeah, I remember that. I think there was a couple people making noise, but it wasn't that bad. Jacob Gene Productions, Yako, a.k.a., goes, oh, Eric, how was the musical score of the movie? I've been studying music at college. I love film scores, and I just want to know how the music is. That is a very good question. And I'd say the sign of a good score is if you can remember it, or if you saw it in theaters and you're like, wow, the music is really, like, kicking butt here. Then that makes you realize that, oh yes, the music is standing out. But unfortunately for this movie, I can't remember any of the themes. The music did not really stand out to me. I thought what made the scenes more intense wasn't really the music as much as it was the tension of the filmmaking that was going on. So, yeah, I do think it was a good movie, but it was more down to the craft of how it was shot and everything, and the scares that were set up. But it wasn't to do with the music. It wasn't to do with the characters. So that's where I would say the disappointment came in. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the music for it. It wasn't a great score. If you want a good slasher movie score, look at the Scream movies, particularly the first 4 of them. I thought the scores for those were really good. 5 and 6 had their moments, but they just weren't as good, I think, as the scores for Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, if there's no more questions, then we will see, I'll tell you my theatre experience I had when watching this movie. Kidding Cell goes, was anybody else's theatre packed when you saw ATSV? Kidding Cell, what is ATSV? It looks familiar, but my mind, it's not coming to me what that stands for. Arathorn999 goes, who was your favorite Ghostface? My favorite Ghostface was in the first movie. The ones in there, the 2 in there. Hey Eric, what was the better movie, Five Nights at Freddy's or Thanksgiving? That is a very good question. I'd say Thanksgiving. Holy moly. You know what, Jake? Hold on a second. You're kind of making me speechless. Give me a second. I'm just getting notes ready for the next story right when I saw that. A huge thanks to Jake for doing a $70 super chat. That, I think, has to be a record, Jake. I think that you've held a record. You held it the last time, and I think you've held it now for the most donated super chats I've seen. I'd be surprised if someone could even top that, but seriously, dude, thank you very, very much. I feel like I almost want to give some of that back. I'm like, do you want to donate all that much? But thank you very, very much for your generosity. Totally Killer, this is a follow-up to your previous super chat. Again, thank you very, very much. Totally Killer was okay, in my opinion. Happy Death Day and Freaky were better films. Anyways, what are your thoughts on animated series like SpongeBob, Simpsons, South Park, and Regular Show? Just asking random questions. Well, your random questions are actually pretty good questions. Because I like... These are kinds of like fun questions when you ask about, especially stuff like old cartoons that I used to watch back in the day and stuff. Yeah, Totally Killer was okay. I can see that, but to me it looked very bad. But I wonder if seeing the actual movie it was okay. Happy Death Day, I like the Happy Death Day movies. As you guys know, I did a Versus video on both of them. The second movie I feel like has gone a bit down in my estimation since that Versus video, but the first one I still really enjoy. Freaky, you guys know that was on my top 5 worst list. I personally didn't really like or care for it. The deaths were cool, though. What are my thoughts on animated series like SpongeBob, Simpsons, South Park, and Regular Show? Regular Show is a really good show. The only problem with it is that the first half of the show always does something really funny and grounded, but then the second half of the show is where it feels like it just goes crazy. Like the writers got high all of a sudden when they were writing the second half of each episode. I have not seen the show all the way to the end, but I really liked a lot of the episodes. My favourite one being the Jinx episode, where in the first half... Rigby and Mordecai are playing a game of Jinx, and Mordecai keeps punching Rigby anytime he talks, and anytime Rigby tries to get help from people to remove the Jinx, and he keeps getting punched by Mordecai. That was hilarious. The shame was when you got to the second half and things just got crazy and supernatural. That's where the show got weird. So it is a shame. I always love the first half of these regular show episodes, but most of them start to get too crazy as soon as you get to that second half. As for SpongeBob, I was never too much into SpongeBob. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't on my top level list of comedic shows. I prefer Ed, Edd and Eddy and a bunch of other things personally. But there are still good episodes in SpongeBob. I remember always trying to load up episodes of it on the internet for my brothers when we were very young, and my brothers were even younger. Especially my youngest brother. He was like just about 4 years old or something, 3, 4. And they would always watch it on the TV. I'd find ways to put it on our iPod Touches for them and stuff, so they could watch it on long trips and things. This is before streaming services became huge like they are now, so now it's simpler. Back then it was trickier to get them on your portable devices. So yeah, it's a fun show. There are fun stuff in it, but I can't watch it for too much. I start to get a bit zoned out at that point. Simpsons, great show back in the day. We've been watching some on Disney Plus over the last few months, and I'm shocked that we were even allowed to watch that show as kids. Just too much innuendos, too much dirty talk, and a lot of the stuff we did not get as kids, but there's even bad parenting and bad morals in there too. They do have some good morals, but I feel like they're buried under so much nastiness. But as kids, we had good parents that basically taught us what was right and wrong, so we were able to calibrate when watching the show what was right, what was wrong. But yeah, Simpsons is a very good show, but you just gotta watch the good episodes, not the recent episodes where they even stopped Bart from getting strangled by Homer because times have changed, as Homer said. And then South Park. I've got a love-hate relationship with South Park. They've got some really good episodes and they got some really boring ones. Who remembers the streaming wars? That sounded so fun because the studios in general were having streaming wars with everyone, but then with each other. But then guess what happened with the so-called streaming wars? It was just a water stream, and there was a streaming wars going on with that. And they even made fun of that in a later South Park episode because they knew that we did not take kindly to that to that episode. So yeah, Across the Spider-Verse. Let's see, what was the question that I was... Kidding Cell was... It was a question from Kidding Cell, wasn't it? What question was he asking about Spider-Verse? Oh. Kidding Cell says, were there any decapitations in the movie? Yes, there were decapitations in the movie. A pretty brutal one that was in there, so that was actually pretty fun if you're looking for a good slaughterfest in the film. Kidding Cell, what was it? Oh, was anybody else's theatre packed when you saw Across the Spider-Verse? Our theatre was full, yeah. And you had one idiot behind us, behind me and my brother, in the row behind, who was pointing out loudly every cameo that was happening. That annoyed the heck out of me. And the same happened with The Flash, when all those cameos happened. Again, some idiot in the back row, just one row behind us, was going off on all the spoilers. It was bloody ridiculous. So yeah, both multiverse movies kind of ruined by some idiot in the back. Hopefully Beyond the Spider-Verse will not be ruined, but anyway. The best experience I've had watching a movie this year was Oppenheimer, because everyone was quiet there. It was like the good old days of watching movies. Jacob Gene Productions, Yako, the Volcanic Muto. Oh, did Eric not like the Five Nights at Freddy's movies? I only do the $2 Patreon tier, lol. I did not like... that's something that I do for, you know, the highest tiers. I will let you guys know my answer. I will tell you guys my answer eventually. But because I think I just put the video up, was it this month or just the end of last month? I want to give it a bit more time before I let you guys know. Just so it gives more value to the people that go on the top tier. So if you're on the top tier, you'll benefit in the same way. But I will let you guys know eventually. But if you want to know immediately, and if you want to see my first viewing of Five Nights at Freddy's, then that is literally just the what you see Let's Watch with the... gives you all the perks. Trailer reactions, just get trailer reaction. Early access, you get trailer reactions, you get early access to Versus videos, and you get gaming shows. And on Let's Watch, you get all the perks, including Let's Watch. So you get basically everything through that Patreon tier. So yeah. Arathorn999 says, Stu, all the way for me. Yep, I agree with you. Those were some fun reveals. Batman's Gamer. I want Superman's Legacy Theatre to be quiet, and Joker 2 and the Batman 2. Please, in my theatre, everyone cheered in Endgame. You know when they cheered. Yeah, I know when they would cheer. Thankfully, our theatre did not, because here in the UK, we don't cheer like Americans do, but everyone gasped. And that gasp was magical. That was all you needed, and you just felt the excitement of the whole theatre. So, yeah, that was a fun time. That was a very fun time. Unfortunately, they don't do that now. The Time Shadow. Hey, Eric, have you ever seen Doctor Who, my favourite TV show? I have watched it, but I only really used to watch the specials, like the Christmas specials, and I was there a New Year special and stuff. And I only used to watch it when David Tennant was in it, because he was my generation's Doctor Who. But no, I didn't watch it too much. I used to watch a lot of Cartoon Network stuff, you know. So I didn't watch it that much. I never got into Doctor Who as much, but I did enjoy the specials. That was almost like my special occasion for Doctor Who, was just to watch the specials. And those were funny, and they were fun. Jacob Production says, not gonna lie, since I've moved into my new house, I'd have to downgrade to the $1 Patreon tier just to save money. By all means, seriously, like, don't... This is all supposed to be helping support the channel and also giving you more content. If you can't afford it, that's okay. Don't feel like you have to keep donating. If your circumstances have changed, that is totally understandable. So I thank you for even supporting me when you did. So thank you very, very much for that. And yeah, I wish you the best on your situation, your financial situation. The G Gamer, cautious if any of the live-action Disney remakes get sequels. Would you plan to do versus with the Disney sequel? We'll see. It really depends on what the discourse is surrounding the movie when it comes out. If there's hype for it, then yes, I will. Drake Holly goes, I love the Jinx episode. Good times. Yeah, it was. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and talk about my horrible theatre experience that I had. Oh boy, let's... Now, when I do this, I'm going to have to basically move my camera. Oh, but before we do, Iron Warrior has come into the chat, who has given... Oh boy. Let's... Again, going through my notes. Who has given a $4... Was it $5? $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Iron Warrior. I really appreciate... As I said, I really appreciate all this. The Mando show really did Pedro Pascal wonders. He's in everything. Have you watched or planning to watch Killers of the Flower Moon? Yeah, the Mando show really did put him onto a whole other level, because before that, was it... what was the actress's name who was a co-star of his, and she had to basically pay him because he didn't have any money to eat, so she gave him her salary, so that was nice of her. But yeah, so yeah, it definitely gave him a leg up, definitely. Have I watched or planning to watch Killers of the Flower Moon? I've not watched it, and yes, I do plan to watch it when it comes to streaming. I'm not going to spend 4 hours with no break in the theatre, so... Alright, Nether King says it very well. Time for Eric to vent. Let's hear it. Yep, we definitely should. One thing, Batman's Gamer goes, I just joined the Patreon this week, and boy, I finished the reaction video, Spider-Man 2 gameplay reveal. Yeah, I've got a verse video of Spider-Man coming. The game show hasn't started yet, but like I said, the OLED Steam Deck, when it comes, it will. So, this month, it should come, the Steam Deck, and I'll upload my unboxing of it and comparison with my previous Steam Deck. So, stay tuned, I've got a lot of gaming stuff coming. Hey, Eric, once I get a job and money into my account, I'm doing super chats, man. Thank you very much, Batman's Gamer. I really appreciate that. Like I said, you guys really have no idea how much you're helping me with this. So, I've been stalling long enough. Let's talk about the story. Now, before we do, I need to move my camera out of the way because I have got a visual demonstration here to show you just what exactly went wrong with when I was watching the movie. So, bear with me, let me just move all this stuff around. Let's move the poster out of the way. Let's get the budget out of the way. I'll quickly show you what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm up to. And let's see. Okay. Yep, this looks like it fits very well. So you'll be able to see the diagrams and everything. So let's put myself right there. Okay, here we go. Time to tell you about what happened with my cinema experience. George Phillips says, you're actually excited. Well, just you wait. I've got a very good visual demonstration as to what happened. But you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to be switching through a lot of images here and a lot of demonstrations. So, here is the cinema. Imagine you're sitting in the cinema and here you've got the screen in front of you. Now, okay, so you've got the screen right in front of you. Now, a screen is supposed to stay all white, isn't it? It's supposed to be a very clean fabric and material that is basically projected. So when the projector projects the light onto it, the light doesn't light anything up except for the whiteness of the screen. And all you get is the image, the projected image. But this is what my screen looked like. It had a bunch of dirt and stuff on it. Now, this is a little bit more exaggerated. It was a bit more faint, but this is essentially what was on the screen. It was this quantity. And yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, I can actually see that when I'm watching the adverts. You know, before the movie comes on, you get the adverts and then you get the trailers. I was like, I can see that on the adverts. And then when the trailers came on, even for Aquaman 2, there was a bunch of horror trailers that came on, not surprising for a horror movie, but then Aquaman 2 came on, and even with Aquaman 2, I was like, you're cutting between underwater and, you know, the land when Aquaman and his brother are going around, and I'm like, I can see dirt, like, on the screen. It's like, I can actually see the smudges and the mess. I can actually see that on top of the footage. When you get to some of the darker footage, it's harder to see, but the movie is very colourful, it's very bright, it's very vivid, and then when you go to those daytime scenes, you see all of that as well. So, I was like, man, if this isn't any indication as to what it will look like when I see Aquaman 2 in the theatre, I would just get up and leave, because part of the experience of watching Aquaman is to be immersed into the world. It's supposed to look like you're supposed to jump into the screen, but it didn't look like I could jump into the screen. I could just see the screen. I'm like, that's a cloth that's being projected on. And what's funny is before the trailers come on, do you know what's funny? The cinema does a little advert for itself when it says, immersive clarity, breathtaking sound, crystal clear definition, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking at that mess and I'm like, this is not crystal clear anything. If anything, this is me wanting to get a refund. So that's what I thought when I looked at the screen. I was like, they need to really fix up that screen. They need to clean it up. But that's not the worst thing. Because when this movie came on, believe it or not, and this is even before the movie came on, I saw this little blue shine on the center of the screen. Now take a look at this, guys. There was a blue glow on the center of the screen. There was that blue glow on top of all that. And also, you might notice as well, there is this little bit of yellow on the side over here. Do you see that yellow? That is something. Now I noticed the dirty projector. I mean, sorry, not the dirty projector. I noticed this. I noticed all this dirt on the fabric on the screen. I noticed the blue on the center. I did not notice this yellow thing until I got to the scene of the movie where our characters were lined up and they were walking towards the camera. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. The left side of the frame, it has the female character there as she's walking with her boyfriend, and it's also got the building behind her, and it looks more yellow toned over here, whereas it looks more naturally toned on the other side, on the white side. I was like, is that some little cinematography thing they did, a little color like artistry they did? But as they were walking, I was like, no, the left side of the screen is actually tinted yellow for some reason. And I was like, oh my god. So not only do we have some dirt on the screen, which I'm trying to ignore, not only do we have this blue sort of like tint on the center of the screen, but we also have this yellow pea-like looking tint, this yellow urine looking tint on the screen. And I was like, man, this is not good. But now, just to give you guys an idea, this is what it looks like when the movie was on. Do you see how you see the blue tint on the center of the screen? And you see some of that dust or some of that those smudges and dirt on this city shot? And this is a city shot. This is one of the brighter shots with some dark imagery. You can still see. And then on top of that, this is what happens when you go into, say, the diner in the movie. When the characters are in the diner, I was like, I can see the blue. I can see the dirt here. And I can even see a tint of yellow. Do you see the tint of yellow? This is something that you notice when you watch it on the big screen versus on a live stream with this image I've got. You really notice the yellow tint a lot more on the screen when you're watching. I was like, man, what the hell is going on here? And you know what makes things worse is the right side of the screen. Do you see the right half of the screen? It looks perfectly fine. There's some smudges and dirt on it, but the colors are fine. So I was like, I can see this part of the screen, and I'm actually comparing it with the middle of the screen with the blue on it, and the left of the screen with the piss-colored yellow on it. I'm like, you can see all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I just kind of looked past it as I was watching the movie, and eventually you see it, but it's kind of at the back of your mind, so it's like you're able to ignore it and watch the movie. But man, that was awful. And then you have shots like this, where it's darker, so it's less noticeable, but you see it, and I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Like, tell me, guys, what do you think of that? That just made me laugh, and I've got one more image to show you as well as a bonus. But sometimes I'll say this, it was less noticeable than others. But is that really a compliment? It's really just... Honestly, I was a bit annoyed when watching it, but I feel like I've kind of just reached... Like, as the Joker said, now I see the funny side. Now I'm always smiling, because when I was even coming up with the images of this, I kind of got into a bit of a laughing fit. And it's kind of coming to me on this live stream too. But yeah, and I'm just looking, and what makes me laugh as well is I'm looking at your guys' reactions. I wasn't looking at it as I was telling you the story. I had a lot to focus on. But man, you guys seemed the new King K going, nah, that's bullshit. You guys going, oh my god, did somebody piss on the screen or go to, yeah, I see the dust and blue. George Phillips, school projectors have better quality. Kidding Cell, that is way too distracting. Elite says I had an experience like that. Well, I'm glad to see that well, actually I shouldn't say that. I feel bad for you if you had an experience like that, but I'm glad that someone can relate. I wonder if anyone else has had an experience that is that bloody bad. Like, seriously. Ugh, that was... I'm still laughing at this. Seriously. Maybe I've gone insane. I think I've just gone insane is what it is. Smooth Criminal says, okay guys, you're overreacting. Eric doesn't know... What does Eric not notice? This is so distracting. Holy moly, that's a lot... What, has another super chat happen? Holy moly. Holy No wonder you guys are all going all crazy in there. Damn, $300. Guys, you're overacting. Eric doesn't notice yet. Yeah, he didn't notice yet. That screen is so goofy. Jake, calm down. When he does it, it's going to be so funny. Well, I hope it was. I actually wanted to scream louder. I actually had to control myself there. Man, Jake, I said, I don't know if you can go higher than the $70 that you did. Dude, what are you doing? I actually feel... Like I said, I feel like I have to give some of this back to you. I feel like this is insane. I'm at a loss for words. I honestly don't know what to say. Dude, I feel like I need to come down and hang out with you or something, or give you a personal hug. Like, seriously. I know I'm supposed to answer your question at this point, but I feel like I still can't. Dude. I'm still speechless. Hopefully I'll find words to say after, but dude. I hope you guys enjoyed that, but I'll show you the last image of what happened on the screen after the super chat. But Jake goes, by the way, have you heard of the controversy of Aqua Baby's death in Aquaman 2? Yeah, that's something people in pre-screening have been talking about. Sorry for the potential spoiler. Also, my worst theater experience was the first Sonic movie. Some guy beside me kept nitpicking everything. Yeah, that sounds annoying and irritating. I remember one woman when I was watching The Woman in Black. This is going back in 2012. She was, when Daniel Radcliffe in the movie kept saying, "Who's there?" Like during the more quiet parts, the horror parts of the movie where tension is supposed to build, he would go, "Who's there?" And she would go, "Who's there?" "I'm coming down. I'm coming down." Like she would repeat everything he said. And at one point, I just yelled at her. I turned around. I said, "Would you shut up? And if you don't, I will report you and you'll get kicked out of the cinema." I remember I got annoyed. I said that to her, and I kind of yelled at her. And the theater was full and packed. She did not say anything for the rest of the movie. And I remember when I went and told my mum, my younger brother was with me at the time, she goes, "Best not to do that. You don't know who could be behind you," and that is very true. So, but I just kind of snapped at that point. But there were so many people, I was kind of thinking there's a lot of witnesses here. I don't think this person would do anything. And she didn't sound like that kind of type, but then again, who knows? So yeah, that wasn't my... This was Eric back in 2012. That wasn't his brightest moment, but he was kind of getting annoyed. And everyone was there. There was a lot of fangirls there for Daniel Radcliffe and their boyfriends in. They would laugh so loud during every scare, and they would all cheer and scream like girls anytime a scare would happen, like a jump scare. But Jake goes, by the way, have you heard of the controversy? Yes, I have. For those of you that don't know, there was... people walked out of the test screening for Aquaman 2, and a lot of people assumed it was Amber Heard, and a part of me still does assume that's probably the reason. But then there was rumors coming out saying, no, the reason people left is because Aquaman's baby, potential spoiler, but I think you've already heard it, his baby dies in the movie, and that is why they did that. They did that because... that's why people left, is because the baby died and it was not something they want to see on screen. And to me that's quite surprising, because the movie is still aiming to get a PG-13. You wouldn't kill a baby in a grotesque way on a movie. So it's like, how bad could it have been that they left? It was James Wan. Maybe he did it in a way that was psychological. I really hope he didn't change it. I'm genuinely curious. What made people want to leave? Because people left at movies like The Exorcist for being too bloody. I want to know. I want to see that scene. I hope he hasn't changed it for that. He probably has with reshoots, but I really hope, or with editing, but I hope he doesn't. I want to see what made people leave. But yeah, Jake, dude, thank you very, very much. And excuse... It looks like you got not just me overreacting, but a lot of the chat overreacting. You really have disrupted this live stream in like the biggest way, but in a positive way. Look at everyone. Everyone's kind of shocked by that. Drake Holly goes, "Holy moly, that's a lot of money." It is. Dude, I really don't know what to say. Seriously. Bro, Jake, you're gonna make yourself go broke, is what Kidding Cell says. Yeah. Damn, $300. And that's where, guys, your overreacting came from. I thought you meant me. I was overreacting from my theater experience, laughing at it. That's so goofy, lol. Damn, you need to find a new cinema. The cinema is good, though. That's the thing. It's like, they can be good if they want to be, but they just do some stupid things at times. So, yeah. But again, thank you very much, Jake. Really, thank you for that. Let's see. Eric hasn't even noticed yet. This is where people are laughing at the fact, because I hadn't caught up with the chat. I'm scrolling through the chat as I go, so I can read your questions and everything. Feel better yet? If you're talking to me, Nether King, yes, I do feel better. I feel a lot better. I feel like I got a sense of the giggles in there. But I do feel a lot better. Damn, that's bad. Yeah, a lot of you guys are reacting. Jake trying to be broke Nether King goes, Jake being tried to go broke for good content. What's your casting choice for Eddie Brock? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll need to think about that. But someone who's got a big, physique, I think would need to play it. But then again, I think the jock Eddie Brock, I think we're kind of done with that. So it'd have to be an Eddie Brock who is also an adult now, kind of like Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Let's see. Bro didn't answer Jake's question. I did answer Jake's question. Did you another question? I answered both of them about his worst experience with the Sonic movie, sitting beside him with a guy that was nitpicking. It's like, yeah, that was a very bad experience. And I've answered the question about Aquaman. Okay, so let's scroll. Maybe I'm just not caught up. They made the volume way too loud in Jungle Book 2016, says Batman's Gamer. That's another thing that my cinema has been doing. This is the thing that has actually pissed me off. I saw 2 movies in the theater. I saw The Evil Dead Rise. The volume was so loud I had to put my hat on just so it could muffle the sound in my ears. It was too loud. And there was another movie I saw that in the cinema, which it was Tenet. We saw Tenet. It was during the pandemic. We saw that in theaters in X Plus, in our Screen 7 cinema. They call it X Plus. It was so loud right at the beginning of the movie that we had to go like this, like a knee-jerk reaction. Everyone reacted to that, and me and my brother, I said, let's go. This was his first Christopher Nolan movie too, by the way. I said, let's go, and I said, do you want to go? And he goes, yeah. He left, and as we went, I had a quick glance at the audience members. Even audience members went like this. I got 4 free cinema tickets for that because it was the pandemic. A lot of places were closed. We couldn't wait anywhere. We had to swap out our tickets for the second biggest screen instead of the first biggest. But that was my favorite screen to go to, like, since 2008. And for them to start having loud volume on, it made me scared to go back to the cinema. Like, I am not kidding. I got scared to go back to the cinema. So I would always go to the second biggest screen at that point. I was like, I can't go back to that big screen. It scarred me for months and months. Finally, I went back, and it was good, but then I went back again after that, and it went super loud again. So now I don't even know what to do anymore with that kind of cinema. So, yeah, it was bad. Some people are going, damn, Eric. Iron Warrior, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Do you for the super chat, Iron Warrior. I always appreciate you keep doing super chats every time we do a live stream. So thank you very, very much. $1.99 super chat. Question is, do you prefer Mario or Sonic 2? That is a good question. I'm just thinking, am I going to do a versus video on that? Probably not. If I do a versus video, it'll be a Sonic 1 versus Sonic 2, and then maybe versus Sonic 3 when that comes out. Mario versus Sonic 2. But then again, I was considering doing that. I'll say Sonic 2. I'm trying to think, because I haven't seen Sonic 2 in a while. I do need to see it again. Yeah, Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is what I would say. So thanks for the super chat. That's why I answered the question. I've got another super chat from Jonah. What? You guys really are just unbelievable. Like, the super chats just haven't stopped coming. Like I said, these really do help. You guys have no idea how much they help. So, seriously, thank you. Very, very much. Thank you. Soldier Boy or Homelander cameo in Gen V show? Are you asking me which of those cameos happened or which one I prefer? Oh, yeah, they were both in it. I forgot. Soldier Boy was in it. I'd say Homelander. Soldier Boy was good, but it was kind of not him, if you know what I mean. So, but with the Homelander, it actually was him. So, that was good, but it was a bit weird. I did think that scene was a bit weird in its execution, the way it was done. Maybe we'll see what happens in the next season of The Boys, because apparently this is going to continue, The Boys Season 4 is going to continue right from there. So, we'll see. I like what Nether King says. 10 minutes later, Jake gives $500 plus donation. That is funny. Because I said, I don't know how you can go up from $70. Like, I said that was a milestone. And I was happy with that being a milestone. I didn't know now the milestone is $280. How is anyone going to beat that milestone? Jake set the first milestone, and he immediately pushed himself to the second, and then made himself the first again. So that's great. Thank you very much, seriously, for those super chats. That is a huge thanks. That really has helped. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And now the final image. The final image. When I was watching, this is another example of a scene that stood out with the filters. Was this? I'll switch back, I think, because in case I didn't give you guys a heads up. So you can see the yellow tint kind of messes up the blacks over here. You get the blue... kind of like beam. It looks like some sort of like diffused beam on the center, doesn't it? And then you get on the right a clean screen with just some dirt on scuff marks on it. But then you switch over to this image. So take a look at the screen. That was that one. And this is another. And yeah, the piss colored tint on the left side of the screen, it was there again. It was there again. It was causing problems I was watching. And again, the blue on the center, and you had all that scuff marks on the screen too. So yeah, this guys, I'm laughing about it now. I was kind of annoyed about it, but I didn't ask my brother if he noticed it, because he's not that fussed when it comes to these things. Like, I don't know how. I wish I could be that, you know, just forgiving of these things, but I noticed this, and it was not so cool. It was kind of messy, and it made me think, Screen 10, do not go to their Screen 10 in the future, because it just goes to show, theaters complain that streaming services is taking away, you know, customers and their business, but the reason why is because they just do not care. How can they allow something like this to happen? They just don't care. That's what it is, and they're complaining about it. It's like, if you put the effort in to making it a great experience in the theater, then we will come. But the thing is, the prices are just going up way too much for a cinema ticket. It's not becoming as feasible anymore, and it makes you think, how about I wait for that movie to come to streaming, and instead of spending like £15, 10 to 15 pounds on a ticket, that's being generous actually, it's about 12 to 15 plus on a ticket. How about we spend that money, or even less money than that, to have a month's worth of streaming? Or on Netflix, if you have the ad tier version, you can get 3 months of streaming for that one price, and that will get you so much more movies, so much more value, so much more content to watch in the span of 3 months than one poorly experienced movie in the theater. And these theaters keep complaining. Like I said, they keep losing business. Why do you think you're losing business? You're bringing it on yourself, so you've got no one to blame but yourself. And that's why it makes me concerned. I can tell you, for the last several years, I have never felt secure in going to the cinema to watch a movie. Whenever I walked down, and then eventually when I got older and I could drive down, I always was afraid that, will I have an annoying audience member, a disruptive audience member? Will the cinema screw up? Because I remember when I watched Black Adam, it looked like the projector wasn't fully in focus. It was like 70% in focus, and that made images in the far background get distorted. Look like they had like double vision, kind of like what 3D does without the glasses. It did that, and it wasn't good. Theaters really need to try harder, and if no one is killing off theaters except theaters themselves. That is my opinion on it. Get better, make me feel like I want to come. Reduce your prices, by the way. If you reduce prices, then I will want to come to the cinema, like maybe to see 2 movies in a day. You know, maybe 2 movies in a month, maybe more movies in a month. But right now, I don't even go to see a movie in like several months. I only go when there's something that I need to see. And let me tell you, if I was not reviewing movies on YouTube, I would probably not go to the cinema at all, except to see just one movie that needs to be seen on the big screen. But others, I'd wait and watch it on my projector. I've got a projector at home now for that very reason. So yeah, that is what I have to say on that. Cinema, I can go on a constant rant. But cinemas, it also means that you have to spend a long journey getting there, and a long journey coming back, and getting ready to go there. It's just a lot of money, a lot of time, and it's much more simpler now to spend less time, less money watching your movie at home and getting a better experience. And you can pause the movie whenever you want to as well. If you didn't hear something, you can rewind it just to go back and hear what they said. Put subtitles on for that bit. I feel like movie theaters, I feel like they've just really kind of like fallen back behind the times. There was a time where you would need to go see a movie in the theater because you had those crappy square TVs, which is exactly what I had when I was younger. But not anymore. Now we don't have those TVs, but they, for some reason, they just still... We can have a great theatre experience at home, but for some reason they just think that, yeah, we don't need to put anywhere near as much effort in, and people should come. We won't. Event movies we will. Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Five Nights at Freddy's was an event movie, but not every movie can be an event movie, and if they want to survive, They need to make sure that every movie can feel like an event movie by restoring their standards back, because they do not have them anymore. So that's my little long rant to conclude my bad theatre experience in the theatre, basically. So yeah, I was very disappointed with my theatre experience, but I've had far worse. That's ultimately why I was able to sit through and watch this movie, so yeah. Theo Harris has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Love your videos, Eric. What are the next Versus videos you are working on? Oh, thank you very much. The next Versus video I'm working on is my Spider-Man 2. Oh, I'm holding on to it. You can see the Spider-Man 2 for PS5. I got the PS5 with the collector's edition. Was it the special edition controller? Spider-Man 2 versus Spider-Man 1, the game. So Spider-Man PS4 versus Spider-Man PS5, the game. That's what I'm working on. That's why it's taking longer, because game versus videos are a lot harder to do. And I'm finding that the best way to kind of like get it done quicker is just not talking about certain things. So instead of making the video 40 minutes long, maybe I cut about 10 minutes of stuff out. Maybe. And maybe I can cover that on the game show. The rest of the stuff I cut out, I can talk about that on the game show when I talk about stuff. So maybe that's what I'll do. So, yeah. But thanks, Theo Harris. I really do appreciate it. I really do love seeing your guys' names on my videos whenever you're commenting, whether you join the live stream, super chats, whatever. I love this little community that we've created on YouTube, so thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. And we have Adam Grunther here, who's joined the stream. It's good to see you again, buddy. How would you rank James Gunn's superhero movies? How would you rank James Gunn's superhero projects, those being Guardians 1, 2, and 3, and the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker? That is a very good question. And thanks for the $5 super chat, by the way. Really, really appreciate that. That is a good question. I would say Peacemaker first, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 second, Suicide Squad third, and then Guardians 2 and Guardians 1. That's the order that I would put it in. So that's my ranking of those. I did love Peacemaker. There's stuff I can skip through, but yeah. There's stuff I would skip through, but ultimately that is that to me was the best. The log man goes, wow, that yellow tint looks obvious right now. Yeah, I know, right? That's what it was like watching the movie. Especially whenever there was white on the screen, because when there was white on the screen, the white would have a tint of yellow, and you could also see the scuff marks on the projector screen. So it was nasty. Nether King goes to Adam Grunther, you missed something crazy. You sure did. Maybe you can go back and see it, but a lot of craziness on this stream. I think this is probably one of my most craziest streams, to be honest with you. Adam Grunther has done another $5 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy, for another super chat. It's been rumored that Brainiac is going to be the main villain of Superman Legacy. Do you think it's too early to use him? Is that the rumor that's going around, Adam? Because I thought there's a rumor I heard today that one of the villains, they didn't say if it was the main villain or one of the villains, but one of the villains was going to be one of the Authority members. It was a female character from the Authority who's going to be one of the villains in there, which is going to lead into Superman Legacy. I mean, sorry, Superman versus the Authority. So I don't know. That would be interesting. Brainiac, I feel like yes and no. I mean, is it too early? Yes, because it would be cool if Brainiac could go up against multiple heroes, I think. But then again, there are going to be multiple heroes in this movie, aren't there? But when I say multiple heroes, I don't mean Guy Gardner and some of the other, superheroes. I mean like the proper Justice League. Maybe Batman in there, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash. That would be cool. But it doesn't seem like we're doing that. Who knows? Maybe he could come back or something. I don't know. But there are stories where Superman does it on his own as well, and those are good. But for some reason, they feel less eventful to fight off Brainiac. I mean, you've got the Suicide Squad versus the Justice League game coming up, and in that story, even though the game looks like crap, in that story, it's like the whole Justice League tried to go up against him and failed, clearly. I don't know if they'll try to go up against him again. Maybe they team up with the Suicide Squad and they all go up against him. I don't know, but it would be interesting. I think, I'll tell you, a simple answer of your question, it can happen either way. It just depends on execution and how smartly they do it. Because I've seen a lot of Brainiac stories and they're all the same, of him collecting samples of the planet and then destroying the planet and everything. I've seen so much of it, I'm kind of bored. I need a new twist on it. So I hope James Gunn can bring that new twist to it. But Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I'm hearing so much stuff about Superman Legacy, and it is getting me nervous because it feels like it's getting crammed with so much stuff. It's like it's giving me Batman vs Superman vibes, not as egregious, but in the sense that it's being overly stuffed. I feel like all we need is a Superman movie, but we're getting all this other stuff too. And it's concerning. I am getting afraid of that. Is it him? Is he being told to add more characters here? I don't know. But yeah, that's basically where I am right now with it. I need to see. I feel like there's too much to see right now that I can just speculate that the movie's not going to be good. It'll be overstuffed and packed. But I'm giving him the benefit of a doubt because as days go by, I am getting more and more optimistic about James Gunn. So we'll see what happens. Adam Grunther has done another super chat. That's 3 super chats already. Thank you very much, Adam. And let's see, who do you like more, Homelander or Omni-Man? Ooh, you asking the hard questions. I like both, but I gotta say, Omni-Man scarred me so much in one season, whereas it took Homelander to make the impression on me that he made. He made a great impression in the first season, but his impressions keep getting stronger with each season. I feel like Omni-Man, he just got me, like, everything that Homelander did in 3 seasons, Omni-Man managed to do in just 1. So I would say I prefer Omni-Man. Omni-Man is more effective. He's more interesting a character in the sense as well that he's not unstable, he's very sane, he knows what he's doing. And trying to change someone like that, to me, I feel like is more interesting. Whereas with Homelander, I feel like he's just become unstable, which is also its own kind of fun and interesting. But he's become very unstable to the point that it's like we're just waiting for him to snap. And that's what I fear. Once he snaps and he does just start going on a rampage on everyone, will he still be as interesting, or will he just seem a bit generic then? I trust the writers, but I still need to see more. But I am much more interested with Omni-Man after 1 season than I am with Homelander. And Homelander's still a great character, but I do love Omni-Man. So I gotta pick Omni-Man. That being said, have you heard that J.K. Simmons is voicing Omni-Man in the new Mortal Kombat 1 game, but Homelander is not being voiced by the actor that plays him in the show? Whose name, like I said, my memory is Anthony Starr. That was it. I was about to look it up and I just remembered it. My memory is not what it used to be. I don't know why. And Adam Grunther has done another super chat. Thank you very much for that. Another $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Adam Grunther. I really do appreciate it. You're always so generous with your donations and with your support, and with you supporting me on the channel. I really appreciate it. Did you see TMNT Mutant Mayhem? If so, thoughts? I did see it. I was thinking, should I tell you or not? I'm not gonna tell you, but I will tell you you'll hear my thoughts on it sooner than you think, because we're approaching the end of the year, and when I do my top 5 best and worst movies list, I'll tell you it was on one of those lists. That's what I'll tell you. But I will be talking about that movie. Smooth Criminal goes, Eric, did you finally see Blue Beetle? I'm sorry, I still have not seen it. I want to, but I still haven't. I know it's taken me a very long time, but I still need to see on my Patreon for my Let's Watch show. I still need to see Invincible Season 2, Episode 1 and 2 and 3. I just recently, that was not me picking my nose, it was me scratching my nose with the end of this. I don't even know why I did that. It's because normally I would do it with this hand, but it was taken up. Usually I would have done it by now, but I had caught a cold, and it kept putting me off of watching it until I got better, because like I said, I want to enjoy Invincible. I've not seen it yet. So hopefully tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'll have to look at my schedule. I haven't got it in front of me right now, but the plan is to do that. So I need to get to doing that on Patreon for those that have gone for my $9.50 Patreon tier, the highest tier I've got. So I'm going to try to do that, and then I'll try to watch Blue Beetle as well. So it's on my list of stuff to watch. I'll definitely watch it by the end of the year, because we need to see if it ends up on my top 5 best or worst movies list. So I'll give you a time frame, definitely by the end of the year. I got another super chat here. Oh, Adam Grunther goes there, says, I love them all, but I'd rank it The Suicide Squad, Guardians 2, Guardians 3, Peacemaker, and Guardians 1. Yeah, that's also a good rank. For me, I was struggling between The Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like, I was struggling back and forth. I probably would, in retrospect, now that I've said it, thought about it, go put Suicide Squad over Guardians 3. But it's very close, because both movies have got the serious moments I enjoy, but they also have goofy moments. But then again, Suicide Squad has more serious moments. But then again, the serious moments that were in Guardians 3 were so good, the rocket stuff. So, I keep going back and forth. I haven't decided yet on that. But who knows? I feel like I'll keep going back and forth on that. Adam Grunther also says, the engineer is confirmed to be a villain, but it's not been confirmed if she's a big bad. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know. It's like, they said she's a villain, but we don't know if she's the main or she's not. I think at this point we'll have to wait and see. There are so many rumors coming out for Superman Legacy. It's actually becoming unwieldy. It's like, how can he put all this in one movie, but at the same time, is all of this true? We have to wait and see. George Phillips, what Steam Deck OLED did you get? 512 or 1 terabyte? I got the 512 gigabyte version. The reason being because it hasn't got that etched glass on it, which is meant to diffuse any, like direct sunlight and light on it. Now, I wanted to get that screen for the LCD Steam Deck, but I've heard for the OLED screen, and that etched glass messes with the quality of the screen. So that's why I did not go for that one in this particular case. But that being said, I've got a 1 terabyte SSD inside my Steam Deck, which I did with this. Let's see if it focuses. Looks like it's not focusing. But basically, this is what I replaced my 64 gigabyte MMC storage in my 64 gigabyte Steam Deck with a 1 terabyte storage. And what I do plan to do with this OLED Steam Deck is to swap out my 1 terabyte SSD into the 512 gigabyte Steam Deck OLED, and then swap this 512 gigabyte Steam Deck OLED SSD into my new OLED Steam Deck. So yeah, I'm gonna swap LCD 1 terabyte SSD with the 512 gigabyte SSD from the OLED Steam Deck. So that's what my plan is. I was AFK, away from keyboard, Batman's Gamer. What did I miss? Oh, you didn't miss... Wow, you asked that question about 6 minutes ago. Not much. I'm just answering questions right now. But they are interesting questions, so I would actually say you actually did miss some interesting stuff. But don't worry, these streams are always staying on my channel. You can always see them. Who else is waiting for Jake DeBrain to top his donation record again? Says Nether King. Honestly, I didn't expect him to top it after what he did the first time. I'm certainly not expecting him to top it this time. He's set an all-time high. Has any stream gotten, donations that high? I don't think I've ever seen it. Jonah White, who has done a $5 super chat. Have you heard of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon? Also, damn it, I lost it. Oh, there it is. Also, who would win? Venom from this year's PS5 game or Tom Hardy's movies? Let me read that question again, because I didn't process it at the end there. I don't know why. Like I said, my mind is not what it used to be. Have you heard of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon? Yes, I have. Also, who would win? Venom from this... Oh, that's what you mean. Venom from this year's PS5 game or Tom Hardy's movies? Venom from this year's PS5 game, without a doubt. And the fact that the voice was better, the personality was better, it was just all better. All better. Without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. It was far better. Hey, Eric. Who is your favorite movie composer? Mine is Junkie XL. My favorite movie composer always used to jump around. It used to be Hans Zimmer, then it was James Newton Howard, and then Michael Giacchino for a bit was there for a bit. But it keeps changing. And Hans Zimmer, I've not seen do a movie score for a while. Junkie XL is great. His Zack Snyder's Just League theme, I think, was my favorite. He also did Run All Night, a movie with Liam Neeson that I saw in theaters. Also had a great theme. In terms of which ones I prefer, like which one would be on my top list right now? Which composer? I'm trying to think of some recent music. Oh, was it Jeremy Zuckerman, I think? Am I getting that right? Who did the Avatar The Last Airbender music and the Korra music? He was also great. I'll say for now... I'll say Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is a fantastic composer. If there was a concert I could go to, I would actually go to that. You guys know I'm not really too much into songs, but I love movie soundtracks and music. So that's a place where I would like to go one day. Jake said, guys, I have a well-paying job. I'm safe from going broke. Okay, that's a relief. That's good. It's funny that that Jake, that you put that down. Were a lot of people really asking about that, like so much, because they were at the beginning. I wonder if they kept going. Hi, Spirit Hero goes, "Hi Eric, would you be interested in doing a tier list on YouTube/Patreon on MCU DC projects?" What do you mean by that? Do you mean videos where I talk about them? If you could elaborate on that in the chat, I'd be happy to read what you mean. I'm always open to ideas of what you guys want, because again, I'm making this content for you guys. So, put your input out there, and I'll try to add it in and take it on board. I've done it in the past, and I've made changes on certain videos, like leveling the music in my videos. Some people said it was a bit loud, so I thought, okay, I'll drop it down more, which I have been extra conscious of doing. So yeah, keep on giving me feedback. I'll take it on board, definitely. Smooth Criminal says understandable. George, you asked that question about the Steam Deck quite a few times. I've answered it already at this point, but this was 7:12, so maybe you didn't know. Jake says, I would start a super chat if my channel was more popular. Well, I'll give you a shout out right now. Jake D. Bruin. I think because Jake has been so... You know what? Because Jake has donated, like... He says he's got a well-paying job, but dude, how much you donated? Let me just give your channel a little shout-out then. Let's see. Here, I'll do it this way. This is probably a bit more of an interesting way of doing it. Let's add Jake's name to this chat here. So Jake, I hope you're still here. Where is the image? There it is. Here for the remainder of the stream, because you donated like far beyond what people normally do for super chats. I've always appreciated it from every single person, but I feel like whoever breaks a record, should I do this? It's something I'm thinking on the spot, just as a bonus reward. Should I do this? There is Jake right there. That's his. I think that's his name on YouTube. He hasn't got much people going on his channel. He said he would start a super chat if my channel was more popular. Hopefully this will help it get more popular. There's less people on the stream now because we've been going on for the stream for a long time, but hopefully when people rewatch the stream, it gets a few thousand views. Some people will want to go and check out your channel. So there's Jake's name right there for that very purpose. So yeah, feel free to go ahead and check out Jake's channel. And thanks again, Jake, for the insane super chat. I don't think I've ever seen a super chat that big before. Like, seriously, from anyone's channel. And I've been watching other people's live streams too. What if Monster House was a series instead of a movie? I would watch the heck out of it. But I'm glad it was a movie. As a movie, I feel like it was more effective. Adam Grunther has... Oh, just dropped my notes here. Adam Grunther has left another super chat, and this is another $5 super chat. I think this is almost the record for how many super chats I've been getting, probably too. So thank you guys very much. I keep saying you guys really are the lifeblood of this channel. If it wasn't for you, for your views, for your donations, for your Patreon donations, for your super chat, for your support, for your thumbing up the videos, for your commenting, for your sharing, you wouldn't even get this live stream probably. I wouldn't be still on YouTube, so thank you very much. As always, I can never thank you enough for helping me here, for supporting me here. What are your thoughts on Watchmen? For me, it's the only Snyder movie besides Justice League that I really like, though the show is much better. Yeah, I am curious to watch the show at some point. When my schedule's freed up, I do want to try to watch that show. I'll maybe even do it as a Let's Watch and let you guys watch it with me. Because I know, Adam Grunther, you've really wanted to see me do that on a Let's Watch show. So I'll try at some point. I can't guarantee that anytime right now, because I've got a lot of videos I'm working on. There's even a Christmas one. I really want to do a Christmas versus video, but that'll be really hard to do, but I'm going to try and plan to do it. So I'll try at some point to get around to doing it, but you know me, I still need to do the Invincible one, because like I said, I just recently got over the cold, and now I can do that. What are your thoughts on Watchmen? For me, it's the only Snyder movie besides Justice League that I really like. What am I doing? I've already answered that. Actually, I didn't answer the Watchmen part. The Watchmen part. I did like the movie. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And I didn't really like it either, but I liked it. It was quite ballsy for the time, I gotta say, for Warner Brothers to release an R-rated movie like that. That's back in the time when we weren't even thinking of R-rated superhero movies, because Christopher Nolan was doing a lot with just his PG-13. The question was, is PG-13 superhero movies going too far? So the fact that the R-rated came out, it does feel like people were not so interested in an R-rated superhero movie yet at that point. That is until people were doing a lot with the PG-13, and then they wanted to see it go even above and beyond. So, yeah. But yeah, for me, if I had to give it a score, it's probably a high 6 or a low 7. Or just a standard 7. I think I give it a standard 7. Or a low 7. I think that's what I did. Henry Jackman is my favourite composer, said Adam Grunther. Yeah, he is a very good composer when he can do good stuff, but I haven't seen him do something in a while. I am curious what his most recent work has been. Oran Orangutan says the max donation I can remember is £150. Like, yeah, that was... that is probably higher than I've seen, but yeah, I've seen some super chats like that, so yeah, that's insane. Yeah, just goes to show how that was very good. But thing is, all of you guys, if you combine your donations, I feel like a lot of you have done huge donations. Adam Grunther as well has also done a ton of them. So yeah, I really appreciate each and every single one of you. I wish I could put all your names up on the screen. But I've not prepared my stream that well. The G Gamer, hey Eric, have you seen Spirited Away by any chance? I haven't, but I do want to. Adam Grunther goes, I still listen to the themes from the Kingsman movies and X-Men First Class. I cannot remember the Kingsman themes, but I do remember X-Men First Class. That was a fantastic soundtrack. I do think Days of Future Past went above and beyond and like even topped that great soundtrack too. Jake, man, you're crazy, says Aragon. Yeah. Jacob says, if I could, I'd get Junkie XL to compose my next movie I'm making, which is a movie based on my character name, Yaku the Volcanic Muto. So it's a passion project, but won't be self-centered. Yeah, it would be cool. The last time something like that happened, when a big composer composed music for someone who was not in the movie industry, was James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, with his movie. He got a really good composer to come in and do that. So, yeah. In fact, I'm just going to double check the name. Because again, normally I'd remember these names, but like I said, I don't know what's going up with my memory. Bear McCreary, he did the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. So yeah. Is Infinity War still a 10 out of 10 for you, says the new King K. I would say so. Probably not as hard a 10 out of 10 as it was when the hype was high, but it's still a good 10 out of 10, yeah, for what it was. On the MCU level of movies. Adam Grunther, given the excessive amount of comedy and mutant mayhem, I think I know which top 5 list is gonna land. You think you know me that well? Just wait and see. Wait and see. Because I waited for it to come out on streaming, and I was looking really forward to seeing it when I got my hands on it. Let's see. Oh, we got Batman's Gamer, who's also done a super chat. I'm sorry if I missed this. It took me a while to get through to catch up on the questions. What are your thoughts on the Batman Part 2? Who do you think the villain will be? Fans jump from villain to villain, man. Yeah. I've been hearing rumors, like, it was clear that Matt Reeves wanted to do Mr. Freeze. He wanted to do Mr. Freeze, but people were like, how are you going to do that realistically? And I wonder if Matt Reeves just gave up, and maybe it was a fun idea he was playing with. Maybe he was misdirecting us on purpose. But he didn't... It sounds like he's either going with Hush, is the rumor that I'm hearing, is Hush, or it's Two-Face, which I've heard as well. I've also heard the Penguin will show up again, the Riddler will reprise his role, maybe. I heard the Joker will reprise. I'm guessing some of these villains will be smaller parts in Arkham, maybe. And there was another character which I can't remember, but I'm curious to see what he does, but I hope the villains that he gets are not the more niche Batman villains. That's what I'm thinking he's going to try to do, is get the more niche Batman villains. But, yeah, that's what I think. We'll see what happens, though, because I have trust in Matt Reeves. When I say I have concerns more broadly for mainstream audiences. Will they come to a movie that has Hush as a villain? Like, at that point, is it Batman just in the movie? As opposed to Batman and his villains? Because usually it's Batman and his villains. But usually here, it's like, it'll just be Batman. I don't know if most mainstream people, they'll be like, who's Hush? So yeah, that's what I think on that, Batman's Gamer. Thanks again for the super chat and the donation. I really, really appreciate that. And it looks like I think we've got another super chat here as well, which I'll read right now. I hope you guys also enjoyed my story when I talked about my theatre experience, and I hope you enjoyed the imagery I brought in. That took work, that did, to put in, to find images to best kind of like recreate what I went through in the cinema. So I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, I've found another super chat here, and it's from the one and only Adam Grunther. So, what's your question here? If they ever made a live-action Metroid movie, who would you want directing it, and who would you want playing Samus? Personally, I'd choose James Wan to direct and Jennifer Holland to play Samus. Jennifer Holland, is that James Gunn's wife? Let me see. Oh yeah, it is James Gunn's wife, yeah. To play Samus, I gotta say, I've not played much Metroid. I played a bit on the Game Boy Advance when I was a kid, and did the DS? The DS had one, didn't it? It was a third-person, more 3D-like game, and I played some of that too. So I'm not really that tight on Metroid. A lot of these Nintendo games, I played some of the earlier ones, but after that, I kind of dropped off, and I found other games like Sony exclusives. I became very, into those. Would you need James Wan to direct a Metroid movie? Because they've been definitely more atmospheric and creepy. But would you need James Wan to do it, though? It is interesting. I guess I would say James Wan, because I can't really think of anyone else. And Jennifer Holland to play Samus? Maybe. I feel like she's getting close to being overexposed, too, because the things I've seen her in quite a few things now. I've seen her in all James Gunn related. Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I feel like I've seen her a lot. I need to take a break. But yeah, if this Metro movie came out in a couple of years, then yeah, maybe. But I feel like I'm not the best person to say who should play Samus in there, because I've not really been that invested in the games to that extent. So I feel like it would be not great to hear that coming from me. But yeah, I would still be interested, for sure. For sure. Like, I'd be curious to see what she could do. She definitely has the voice for it, I'll say that. Like, I'm just thinking, if she has the helmet on, I could imagine her having the voice for it. But yeah, I will say, I do think Microsoft and Paramount must be kicking themselves for how they just flopped it with Halo. Especially because the creatives behind the show did not even watch the movie. Play the games or watch the movie, so yeah. Let's see. Do you watch any UFC? Is that wrestling or something? No, unfortunately I don't. Adam Grunther, why do these Batman movies even need to be that realistic? If you're doing a Two-Face who can actually talk with that facial scarring, you can totally do Mr. Freeze. I do agree. This is something that me and my brother were talking about. My brother is speculating that Matt Reeves made the first movie more realistic because the Riddler was the villain, but he thinks it can be a bit more of a fantastical world than what Christopher Nolan did. And he thinks that characters like Mr. Freeze, they can actually happen. So they can use the freeze gun, or maybe, a bit more of the supernatural stuff like Clayface can actually happen. That was another one. Clayface was rumored to also be in the movie. But yeah, I will say, Adam Grunther, I do want the movie to be a touch more fantastical. A touch. Because I like how they've grounded it, but I do want to see him go up against odds that are a bit more fantastical. My favorite Zilla Universe. My favorite composers are John Powell. He was a great composer. How to Train Your Dragon, the Bourne movies, X-Men 3, fantastic composer. And Yasunori Mitsuda, or Matsuda, if I go off of Death Note. I don't know what his compositions were, but yeah, we can agree on John Powell. He is also a fantastic composer. Even though I do think he dropped the ball a little in How to Train Your Dragon 3. I feel like that had the least best soundtrack, personally. Anaket22, have you heard of GTA 6 trailer? I've heard of it, not seen it, but I don't care. It's going to be... They're going to monetize it like crazy, aren't they? Because Rockstar are not the same company they were when they released the first Grand Theft Auto game. Do you think Glenn Powell, who did Hangman and Top Gun Maverick, would be better Johnny Cage than Carl Urban? Glenn Powell, Hangman. I think I know who you're talking about. Let me just double check to make sure that I've got it down. Oh, by the way, I'm seeing that the new King K subscribed to Jake, so yeah, Jake, I'm happy I can send some viewers your way, some little publicity. So, but again, thanks for the super chat. Thank you all for the super chat. You all are just so generous and amazing and really supportive of the channel. Oh, him. I see who you're referring to. Glenn Powell make a good. I'm looking at him, and he does kind of have that look, doesn't he, of a Johnny Cage. So yeah, maybe he. I feel like there's still someone. There could still be someone better though. So we'll see. But we'll see what Carl Urban does. Although I do think, like everyone else, he should have been played a different character that already died in the first Mortal Kombat game. So. I'm just going through to see if there's any messages I've missed before I go right back to the bottom of the list. Okay, I'm back to the bottom. Oh, Adam Grunther with another super chat. I didn't even see that there. Give me a second. Seriously, thank you very much for these. If Insomniac did a game on a DC character, who would you want it to be? I think Green Lantern could be amazing. You know, it's kind of sad that you're asking that, because usually we would not ask what would a Marvel developer for Marvel games, what would it be like if they came over to DC games? Usually we would always say Rocksteady. They are the DC game developer. But because of their crappy efforts with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is just a live service game that you could tell it was designed for essentially Fortnite with DC characters, it's kind of sad that we've now lost faith in Rocksteady, and we're now looking at a Marvel developer and saying, what would it be like if they made a DC game? What would it be like if the old Rocksteady made a Green Lantern DC game? Everyone wanted to see them make a Superman game ever since after Batman Arkham Asylum, but they made more Arkham games, which was great. So you think, all right, after Arkham Knight, Superman game. But Warner Brothers said no, and now look where we are. Apparently the new Wonder Woman game is also going to be a live service game, which we found out just recently. So, but going back to your question, I'm sorry, that was just a little depressing thought for me, that was. Who would I want? Which DC character would I want Insomniac to make a game of? Green Lantern is a great one. Very good one, the more I think about it. I would also want to see one of the Flash. I've always wanted to play a Flash game, you know. See how they can manage that super speed and make it playable and comprehensible for us players. A Flash game would always be cool, something I always wanted. Orangutan says, I subbed to Jake, so there's another subscriber you got there, Jake. So, Jacob Gene Productions, Yako, in other words. If I could, someday, I'd show you my movie, Eric. That'd be cool, huh? Anywho, random question. What's your favorite drink? I know it's a random question, but why not ask it? Lol. Yeah, why not ask it? Yeah, I would love to see your movie. Send it to me at some point if you can, and I'll have a look at it. Then I'll message you about what I think of it. What's my favorite drink? My favorite drink is a Pepsi. That's my favorite drink. I don't drink personally. I'm not. Just never liked. I've seen too many examples in when I've been going out in work environments and stuff where you see people drinking a lot. And I worked out when I was about 16. You can't drink here until you're 18. And when I just saw the effects out on people, I was like, yeah, no thanks. It wasn't pretty. Let's just put it that way. I was like, no thanks. So I just said, just stick to all the other drinks. There's a million other drinks out there. You don't have to go for those kind of drinks, you know? That's what I thought. The new King K says, who is your favorite rapper? I don't have one. You guys know what I think when it comes to movies and stuff, don't you? I like songs and I like some songs, but I also love music personally. Orangutan says, do you feel lucky with your community? Because with the debates you do, it could cause arguments of what's best, but everyone is civilized. Yeah, I feel very lucky. The thing is, I've said this, and I'll expand on it. But if all I had was you guys as an audience, and I was able to continue growing a channel and able to support myself constantly, I would be happy. If anything, here's one thing I don't want. I want to become more successful as a channel, but I don't want to have millions and millions of subscribers where all of a sudden it's just too much to respond to and you can't engage with your audience. I want to be successful, but I want to be successful to the point where I can still manage my audience. So that's basically what I want, because I enjoy... part of the fun of all this is talking to you guys. So that's part of the reason why I ended up doing more live streams, so I can start speaking to you more. So yeah, that's... I feel incredibly lucky. I've got the greatest viewership. There's never been something ugly where I've had to come in as a moderator of the channel and start blocking people or censoring them. The conversations have always been civilized. Sometimes, even at their worst, they're just a bit heated. But everything can get a bit heated. It's okay. So yeah, I'm just so thankful for having such a fantastic viewer base and audience base. So yeah, I've thanked you guys so much, but really, thank you very, very much. Let me just write this down. Not my speech, just something else. You have to keep track of certain things as you're doing live streams. So, hi, Brandon Gaming says, "Hi Eric, remember me? I certainly do. Haven't seen you in a while. It feels like. How have you been? Glad to see you could drop down on a live stream." Ethan Leposer, I hope I said that right. $2.79 super chat. What are your thoughts on The Boys? Oh, I love The Boys. The Boys is a fantastic TV show. It was kind of a slow starter at the beginning. It's like everyone had to slowly kind of like find The Boys, which once they did, including myself, I saw an ad on YouTube where the first season where Robin, just gets, where hands are left in Huey's hands, and where her body is just turned to like splat like a flea from A-Train. I saw the trailer of that. I was like, that is sad. That is messed up. And I think everyone thought that, and we had no clue what we were in for. That was just one of the nicer things the show did. One of the less cruel things compared to everything else what they did. So yeah, I love The Boys. I'm so looking forward to season 4. So, any more questions? Because I feel like we're reaching the end here. I'll give it till 45. It's 7:38 where I am right now. I'll give it till 7:45, and then I'll end the live stream. How long have we been going for? 2 hours and 6 minutes. Not even our longest live stream. So, again, thank you all of you very much for your donations. All of you. And Jake, you are absolutely insane, but I am so incredibly grateful. And but at the same time, you did say you got a well-paying job, so thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate it. Adam Grunter, thank you very much. I feel like I want to go through all the super chats again and just thank you all very much. Ethan, thank you very much. Adam, as always, thank you very much. You're even supporting me over on Patreon. So seriously, thank you very, very much. You've been supporting me for as long as I can remember. Batman's Gamer, thank you very much. Jonah White, thank you very, very much. And I think that's as early as I can go with the... As I'm scrolling through the list, that's as early as it lets me go back. If I just had a list of everyone here, I would just thank all of you. Maybe I'll write it down next time. See, these ideas keep coming. I need to have some kind of notepad or something where I can write your guys' names down. George Phillips says, best game to get on the Steam Deck. Well, for me, the seller for the Steam Deck was to get all the Batman Arkham games on it. Because it's funny that the Nintendo Switch is finally getting the Arkham games on the Nintendo Switch, but they'll be at 30 frames per second. You'll only have one of them on the cartridge. The others you have to download via the store, and you're only going to be able to play them at 30 frames per second, and the graphics are going to be downgraded, especially for Arkham Knight. On the Steam Deck, 60 frames per second, maybe even 90 when you get the new Steam Deck OLED, the OLED Steam Deck. And you also get Arkham Origins on there too, and all of it for a much cheaper price than the one you get on the Steam Deck. So yeah, much cheaper price than the one you'd get on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, do you like Kraven in Spider-Man 2? I do. He was a really good villain, very intimidating and intense. Eric, have you watched Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Yes, I have, and I've recorded my first time watching the movie on my Patreon, so it's on there for you to watch. Nether King, what is your favourite Clone Wars episode? Oh, there are so many. But which is my favourite? I'll say it's the one when Ahsoka leaves. There was so much build up to that. I remember watching that episode. That was a 4-parter. I remember watching that when I was a kid. Everyone remembers where they were when they saw that. That was a pivotal moment. Let's see. Jacob Gene Production says, I sent a super chat earlier too. Well, thank you again to you, Yako, the Volcanic Muto, for sending a super chat. I'm sorry, I would have read it, but it wouldn't let me go up further anymore. Yako also says, this is my... Where is it? There it is. This is probably my favourite live stream I've been a part of. Yeah, this is one of my favourite. I actually had... Originally, I was just going to do... talk about Pedro Pascal and review Thanksgiving. I wasn't even going to cover what my theatre experience was like, but when I thought it would be a fun little bonus or a fun thing to do, and yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, because that took a lot of extra work to do, so I'm so happy you enjoyed it. So, Zilla Universe, my favourite is the Umbara arc. Yeah, the Umbara arc was great. Let me double check. The Umbara arc is with all those clone troopers, isn't it? Yes, it was. The Battle of Umbara. It was with that... I'm not going to give any spoilers for those that haven't watched it, but it's a very clone-centric episode, and it was a very pivotal one to really get an understanding of the clones. It was so good. It was amazing. A fantastic show. Eric the Viking, another fellow Eric. Have you started watching Invincible Season 2? If so, what do you think of it? I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to record my reaction again on Patreon. So you see here... the tier that says Let's Watch movies and shows, you'll get the trailer reactions there, you'll get early versus videos, access to early versus videos there, you'll get my new game show there, and you'll also get my brand new, well, not brand new anymore, but my Let's Watch show that I've been doing with Secret Invasion. I've also done it with Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm going to do it with a Christmas movie as well. I'm going to watch a Christmas movie. The Five Nights at Freddy's was a Halloween special Let's Watch episode. And I'm going to do it again with a Christmas special, which I'm intending to do as well. All of that is on Patreon. So yeah, I did watch Five Nights at Freddy's, and it is there, as well as many other things. Orangutan, did people ever make fun of you for wanting to be a YouTuber, and have you ever considered doing a meet and greet with your fans? Yeah, some people were trying to make fun, but I just slapped them down because I actually could. It was my cousin that tried to do it, of all people. It says, are you going to get a job? And I said, I have got a job. And they go, I mean a real job. And I said, this is a real job. And then just backed off. I said it more sternly than that. But yeah, of all people, yeah, when your family does that, not good, is it? But some people at work, you could tell when I had a job at the beginning as well. When I was younger, I had a job. You could tell some people were pretty jealous, but they didn't want to say it. So you just don't talk about it. Certain people, you talk about it because it's a fun talking point. Why wouldn't you say that? It's interesting. And people would ask you questions, and then they would see, and they would always be surprised. They'd be like, wow, you got 50,000, like, what was it at the time? They said you got 20,000 subscribers. And at one point, someone said, wow, you got 50,000. That's always the fun part, when they think they're just watching, oh, you just got a YouTube channel, like just one of those small YouTube channels. Then they see my subscribers numbers and like, whoa. And then they see how my videos are edited. They're also like, whoa, do you do all those? Like, I think they kind of underestimate you when they see you, but then when they see the videos, they all of a sudden are like, wow, this is actually higher quality. You're taking this seriously. And I'm like, yeah, I do take it seriously, very seriously. That's why my videos take longer at times, because I'm trying to release them with a level of craft, and also with... I don't want to feel like I'm just rushing them out to the point where it feels like you can just see the decline in quality. I never want that to happen. Adam Grunther, another super chat. But yes, people have tried to put me down on it before, but I'm still doing it, and you guys make it so worthwhile. That's also part of why it's so fun to have great viewers like you that always talk about how much you enjoy the content, and then when you support the content, I've already told you about my Patreon, I've already told you about super chats. The fact that you guys even come to these live streams, it just, anytime you get pushed down, stuff like this pulls you back up. So that's, again, a testament to you guys. It really is. And speaking of which, we got another super chat from Adam Grunther. What is your favourite season of a comic book TV show? For me, it's the first season of Doom Patrol. It's funny, heartbreaking, and has great characters. Yeah, you recommended that to me back when WandaVision came out, and I was not too fond of the direction they were taking. So I watched Doom Patrol because of you, but I still haven't seen the last few episodes. I liked Doom Patrol until it got... I felt like I think they had like 4 or 5 episodes too many. If they had 4 or 5 episodes less, I would have watched it all. But I came to a point where I was like, guys, have we found them yet? The person that you're, the person that you're looking for, and have we found the villain yet? took a long time. But I did enjoy what I saw. The first season of a show that I love, of a comic book TV show, it was The Flash. That first season, dude, it was like, at first you think, okay, this is light, okay, it's a bit corny. They got a CW romance in there. They got very heavy CW later on, but at the beginning it was just really a CW romance. But I was like, how long are we going to take before we get into the story? Was it like episode 6 or 7? Maybe 8? That's where they started to kick the story into high gear. I was like, wow, already? So season 1 of The Flash, in the final season, it was sad. Tears actually went. I had to hold back tears when Barry met his mum in the past. It was so sad. Phenomenal season. I also remember I've got a soft spot for season 1 of Arrow as well, because I had severe eczema at the time, and I tried to get some medication, and I remember it was supposed to be a herbal medication, and I had an allergic reaction to it. Apparently it paralyzed my feet, and I remember I had bad eczema and paralyzed feet for a couple days. I remember they loosened up. My feet felt like there were like 2 metal plates inside of them where they just nailed to the ground. I couldn't get up until I got off of it, and then my feet started to get lighter, but they also got cold, and it's got like 100 knots in them at once. It was horrible. Arrow was the weekly show that I would watch to distract myself when I had like very bad eczema and stuff, and that I've got a soft spot for that first season, so I'd say both of those. But yeah, Doom Patrol was good in that first season. It just went on for too many episodes. Yeah, CW The Flash, it got very bad later, but the first season, I think I gave that a 9 out of 10. It was fantastic. That first season, I like the first 2 seasons were fantastic. Season 3 I thought was good. Not great, but good. Season 4, it was just average, and then after that it just went to complete crap. Particularly when we got to season 6, and I didn't even watch anything beyond season 6 episode 2, I think. Hey Eric, what do you think if Warner Brothers owned Star Wars instead of Disney? I don't even like that idea, to be quite frank with you. I think even they would find a way to screw it up. I feel like studios are getting too greedy now, especially if you heard what David Zaslav said recently. Apparently I think it's David Zaslav that is pushing microtransactions and charging people $10 for fatalities on Mortal Kombat. And as soon as you start charging people for fatalities, I feel like you've gone way too far. And they're still charging, and they tried to do something recently where they tried to course correct, but then they backtracked even further. And if you look at what's happening with the Suicide Squad game, if you look what's happening to all the games going forward that they said they want to make, they're going to start monetizing them a lot more. And that's why I don't really own many games for the PS5. I've only got Spider-Man 2, and that's it. The next game I'm probably going to get on it is going to be the Wolverine game, a Sony exclusive, but it's like, I feel like Sony eventually will probably try doing this too. Right now they're not, because they're trying to stand out, but they are great, and I feel like they're the only real reason to get a game to get video games anymore. But games are getting too expensive for what they're doing, and how they're trying to still charge you more on top of that. It's ridiculous. Miles Adair, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Hi Eric, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you reach 100,000 subscribers? And also, would you give a K-drama a try? What's a K-drama? I don't know what that is. Maybe the ones I mentioned in your birthday stream. Oh, I can't remember that. That was June, wasn't it? That birthday stream. You're gonna have to comment and let me know what that is. What am I going to do when I reach 100,000 subscribers? I'll do a celebratory... I've not really thought about it, but I'll do a celebratory live stream. I'll probably do a celebratory video. I'll probably do the video where you get the silver YouTube plaque. I'll do that. And I'd have to plan it closer to the time, but I'm far away from 100,000. Hasn't happened yet, so... Yeah, it would take... I don't know, I need to plan that out ahead of time. What are your top 5 favorite Ghostbusters characters? Oh man, I'm gonna have to say them off from my head, aren't I? Just the original guys, and then I'll put Sigourney Weaver at the end. Those are my favorite characters. Yeah, I can't really name them. I forgot. I know Egon. I always say Bill Murray. I'll say this. I think I've said this before. I didn't grow up on Ghostbusters, so I wasn't a huge fan in that way. I've kind of forgotten the names. I remember Egon. Adam Grunther. With Zaslav in charge, if he was spearheading Star Wars, the sequel trilogy would feel like a pleasant dream. Probably you're right, you know. Because it's interesting, because it's said that there was a report that came out that said that James Gunn does not have full control of the DCU as we thought he did. So it makes you think, what's going to happen? Is that's one of the things that's making me concerned, is the new Superman movie being packed because David Zaslav is saying to James Gunn, put in more heroes so we can get to our Justice League quicker. What's happening? So I feel like I'm getting nervous now because I don't know what James Gunn is doing and what he's being told to do. Kind of like what some of these video game companies are, like with Mortal Kombat. And yeah, let's see. Imagine Jacob John Regime Productions, Yako goes, imagine if Eric did a live stream where he interacts with some of his fans for a 100,000 celebrity live stream. That would be interesting. I would not be opposed to doing that. Yeah, that would be cool. Sandman, I can see you're spamming. Like I said, if you spam, please spam 3 messages. I allow people 3, but not 5 or more at once. Ahsoka vs. Ahsoka, without a doubt. Secret Invasion was just terrible. If you watch my Let's Watch show on Patreon, you'll all know what I thought of each individual episode, and I gave a score out of 10 for each individual episode as well. I was not really having it with that show. I was really, quite frankly, I remember I was really annoyed watching Secret Invasion. Such basic mistakes they were making. It's like, how could you make such stupid mistakes here? And how could you screw up Nick Fury's character so bad? Miles Adair. Oh, a follow-up to your previous Koran drama. It may be for you. All of us are dead, and Alice in the Borderland. The Sound of Magic one is Japanese Squid Game. Oh, those kind of dramas. Oh, a Korean drama. Yes. All of Us Are Dead was actually something I wanted to see on Netflix. But I saw how many episodes there were. I think I managed to only watch 1, then I didn't get away with it. But I have seen foreign movies. Like, what was the... Parasite, I think, was the most recent one I saw. And there was another one, but I can't remember what it was. Honestly, the most foreign stuff I watch nowadays is just anime. And I'm really into Demon Slayer. So that's what I've been seeing. Zilla Universe. That's why I mostly play Japanese games, especially ones from Nintendo lately, because at least they don't pull shit like live service or microtransactions most of the time. Yeah, that's true. But I think if I remember correctly, even Nintendo have gotten into predatory practices too. So I think there are that this is not the. I think there are others that they've done basically. I think Nintendo have done more of those predatory stuff. I really hope they don't stick with it though. That's something I hope Nintendo don't do. Do not stick with getting microtransactions and then start making them worse. And I hope Sony don't get involved in it. That's something I really don't want. Do you remember when they gave Spider-Man PS4? Everyone was wanting the Sam Raimi suit. And they finally gave it to us as a big surprise, and it was during the Christmas holidays. And they said, happy holidays. Here's the free. Just install this update. It's a free update that will give you this Raimi Spider-Man suit. Happy holidays. They would normally charge for that. If they charged for that, I think we would buy it. I would have, and I normally don't buy costumes. But the fact they did that for free was so freaking amazing, and it shocked all of us. And to this day, I'm still shocked. But look at how these other games charge you just for changing your color on your arm or your weapon. But they gave it for free. And to this day, that is the main costume that I rock when I play the Spider-Man game on PS4 and on my Steam Deck as well. And you get the black suit in Spider-Man 2, the Raimi black suit, which they didn't give in the other one, which I found was weird, but here they gave it to you. The only suit we did not get was the animated black suit and animated red suit from the 90s animated series, which was a shame. Adam Grunther, another super chat. Thank you very much for that. I'll answer that question. That's a very good question, because I was thinking of this recently. Did you end up seeing Barbie? I'd be shocked if so. I haven't seen it yet, but I have been going on with the idea of thinking, what if I watched it as part of Let's Watch on Patreon? Would you be interested in that? Because you are someone who always watches my Let's Watch episodes. Let me know. Because I do... One thing that I love about the Barbie movie is the fact that it came out opposite Oppenheimer. I feel like that was one of the best things. It just goes to show counter-programming. It kind of made me change my viewpoint and say, if you want to make these kinds of movies, like the feminist types, where they're very message-heavy, do it. By all means, go ahead. I have no problems with it. But just so long as you know where to put it. And they've tried to put it in a lot of franchises like Star Wars, where they push the men off to the side and all that. Like with Rey, where they're really trying hard to replace her as Luke Skywalker, even giving the name at the very end. It felt like they were really doing. It felt like they were doing boys versus girls, which is not good for anyone. But here, it didn't feel like boys versus girls when we had Oppenheimer and Barbie. It felt like boys and girls rather than boys versus girls, and it felt so nice. Like girls had movies that a movie that they could really enjoy, but guys enjoyed it too. Guys had a movie they could enjoy, but women could enjoy it too. That to me was the best scenario. It was actually very nice. If they can move forward doing it that way, I would have no problems. But I'm considering giving it a watch and watching it with you guys. So that's what I'm thinking. And blimey, I scroll down. Adam Grunther, you've got another super chat so quick. Blimey, guys, this is. I feel like we're breaking records here with how much super chats are going on. This really is going towards supporting the channel. I don't know if this was asked, but which video game movie did you like more, Sonic 2 or the Mario movie? I think this actually was asked, yeah. I said Sonic 2. I do like Sonic 2 over the Mario movie. The Mario movie was very basic, but which was worked to its advantage and benefit, but Sonic 2, I did like the interaction between Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and especially Jim Carrey, of course. I thought that was so fun and cool. Patrick Style says, when... Oh, where is it gone? Oh, there it is. When will you do a video with Age of Ultron? I really want to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, I've said that for a long time, haven't I? That I'm going to cover Age of Ultron. But then all these new movies come out and I make new shows and things. Because I think at the time when I said that, I only had Versus as a show. But then I had Let's Binge Watch. And then I've made, like quick movie reviews. And then I've got Patreon shows now that you could... I mean, just look at this. When you look at all these shows on the top tier, that's like additional shows on top of the ones I'm making. And today, and a couple days ago as well, a few days ago, I actually wrote a potential for another show that I'm working on. So I'm making a lot of shows. That's why I've never got around to doing an older movie like that. I don't know when, to be honest with you. Probably I should just cover it for you guys because you want to know my thoughts. So I'll try to revisit that sooner. I will. I'll look into what format video I should cover that in. Whether it's a quick movie review, a rant video, maybe I do a video where I said, maybe a video like why Age of Ultron is the worst Avengers film or something. I'll have a look. I'll see. But right now I am busy because remember, next month Chicken Run is coming out. Who saw Chicken Run when back in the day? That is one of the movies I saw when I was a little kid. I think I was 4 or 5 when I saw that in the cinema. So I'm going to do a versus on that is what I'm planning to do. I might drop the versus on Aquaman 1 versus 2 because there's too much to do. I've still got my Spider-Man versus video to do. That's one versus video. I'm going to have the Chicken Run versus video too because I want to do that. It's something going back right to my childhood, like right at the very core. I'm also going to do a versus video, a Christmas versus video that I really want to try and do. And that might be a 3-way versus video, that Christmas video. I can't have another. This is already too much, like the 3 that I've got. So adding an Aquaman in there, if the movie is really going to bomb, I don't think people want to see a versus video on that, like the majority of the internet, compared to the numbers I got when I did the first one. So I might have to drop that one, but we'll see what happens closer to the time. Okay, George Phillips, is it worth rebuying games like The Last of Us and Spider-Man just to play on deck? No, it really isn't, unless you can get them on a very good price. Steam drops their prices constantly. So, Spider-Man I actually bought for myself when it got dropped in price. I also got the Miles Morales game, which is the first time I played it on my Steam Deck. I actually got it for my birthday as a birthday gift because of the donations you did on the live chat for my birthday stream. I actually spent some of that on food, like I said I was going to do, if that was the live stream I said it. And I also spent a bit of money on that, because I will... On Patreon, I do plan to be talking about games, like I said, now that the game show is up and running, I will be referencing the Miles Morales game, so that was one thing that happened. It was a birthday gift, essentially, from you guys. So, yeah, I did that. But that was the one time. Every other time, I always get the games, and even when I got it with you, with the donations from you guys, I made sure I only do it whenever the price is at a low price. So yeah, that's when you're worth doing it. It's not worth doing it for full price. And The Last of Us, I'd say, is just not worth on the Steam Deck at all. Because if you have a PS4 like I do, and The Last of Us on PS4, it can run at 60 frames per second, whereas you're struggling to run it at 30, 35 frames per second on the Steam Deck, so it's not worth it in its remastered state. Hey Eric, I don't know if you've answered this yet, Minecraft World this is from, but are you planning to watch Godzilla -1 theatrically, or will you watch that somewhere else? Godzilla -1, I don't know if my theatre will even have it, to be quite frank, unless they have done a theatrical release. I've not seen it. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it at home on my projector is what I think I would do, personally. That's what I think. If I'm being honest, that's what I think that I would do. And we have another super chat from Adam Grunther. Speaking of Chicken Run, what are your thoughts on the villain in it? I recently saw it and was shocked at how intimidating she was. Super underrated. It's funny that you watched it recently, because me and my family watched it recently about a couple months ago, month or two ago. Yeah, there was dark stuff in there that I always knew was dark when I was younger, but when you're older, it kind of makes you see it from a different perspective. Because when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, that's not scary, or I'm fine with that. Yeah, so what? A lot of movies do worse than this. But when you're older, you kind of look at it with new eyes, and you're like, wow, this is a kid's movie, and they did that. The biggest scene was when you see the first chicken that Mrs. Tweedy kills, and you end up seeing his carcass later, all cooked up in a chicken pie or something. I was like, whoa, me and my family all looked at each other and laughed, said, what the fuck? Like, that's messed up. And I remember it wasn't so messed up when we were kids. Maybe it's because back then a lot of movies were darker like that, so it was just kind of like was the norm at the time. But now they're not as ballsy, so when you see stuff like that, it really hits you. But yeah, Mrs. Tweedy, she was a really great villain. I just don't like the fact that they brought her back in the second one. I thought either she was dealt with, or she got killed by her husband. When I watched it recently, I was like, did she get killed by her husband when he just knocked the barn door on her? That's what essentially is what he did. Back on the VHS and DVD days, I couldn't quite see that's what he did. But watching it now on Blu-ray, essentially, 1080p, you could see that's what he did. And I was like, wow, that was actually also kind of harsh. Did he kill her? If he did, it's like, how did she get back? But I feel like they're doing that for nostalgic purposes. I feel like they're honestly doing that for nostalgic purposes. They're bringing her back. Which I didn't think was good. I thought they would bring a new villain in or a new threat. I hope her husband is in there if they're going to bring him in. But then again, no, maybe he left an abusive relationship, I think is what they're trying to say happened. Because he kind of like just was done with her there, was he? Fred S, bear with me, I will get to your question. But yeah, she was very intimidating. She was insane, and she was voiced by Miranda Richardson, who was in Blackadder. She was in Sleepy Hollow. She's in a lot of stuff. She was Rita Skeeter in Harry Potter. She's a very well-known actress down here in Britain, so haven't seen her in a while though since. But yeah, she was a very well-known actress. Thanks again, Adam Grunther, for the $5 super chat. I don't know how many super chats you've done today, but that is a ton. Fred S, what is better, It or Stranger Things? I'd say Stranger Things, the first 3 seasons. Season 4 was crap to me. So if you're counting the 4th season in, then I would say It. But the first 3 seasons, Stranger Things. Minecraft World, hey Eric, are you planning to watch the new Scott Pilgrim show? No. Because first of all, I was never really a fan of Scott Pilgrim. It was alright as a movie, but it was a bit too weird to me how it just jumped straight into the craziness without even really developing it some or just transitioning to it. It just straight up happened and it got weird. So it wasn't really for me, although Chris Evans in it was hilarious. His scene, it's a shame he wasn't in the movie more. But from what I hear, this show does the He-Man thing that the Netflix He-Man Master of the Universe show did, which is where it sidelines the main character, the title character, He-Man, and in this case, Scott Pilgrim, and has the female characters take over the show. Which did not happen with He-Man all the way through. I actually covered it on my my Instagram. And I liked it. I did like the show. I still like the show. But I do acknowledge that was a bad decision. Especially in this day and age where male characters are kind of being pushed off, so the female characters can just, like, you know, basically put the male characters down to inorganically heighten up to prop up the female characters. I don't like when they do that. I really don't. And it looks like this show is doing that again, so I'm just going to avoid that. I just don't like when I can see right through something. It seems like they have done that, and people do not seem to be happy with it. But there are people that are enjoying the show. So if you're enjoying it, enjoy it. If you're enjoying it, that's great. Enjoy it. But honestly, guys, I am just really, really, really done with that kind of stuff. I'm just not. I'm just turned off to it. Unless it's a big franchise, I'm kind of just done. Comic Book King, sup? This is my first time in the stream. Yeah, you've been a long-time viewer for as long as I can remember, and to see you in the stream now, great. I am thinking of ending the stream soon. It's gone on longer than I even expected it to, but I'm glad that you are here. So if you have any questions, post them. I'll answer them live while you're here. I'm starting to... Why is it that at the end of these streams I'm always... My throat is sore, I'm tired, and I'm hungry. It's always those three things at the end of a stream. It's because I enjoy talking to you guys so much, I stay here for way longer than I'm supposed to. Phoenix Hunter, YT, Jr. Imagine if Alan Rickman had been in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie if he was still alive. What role would he play in the Five Nights at Freddy movies? Because I don't really think he would be a good fit for the main role. I think the person they cast for that was the best choice. The Chili Dog Vendor. How would you rank all live-action Transformers movies? That's a good question. I'm just going to do the main movies. I don't want to put Bumblebee in there because that's... maybe I should. Alright then. Transformers 1, Transformers 3, Bumblebee, Transformers... the recent one that came out, Rise of the Beasts. Oh, no, sorry. Did I say... Let's do it again. Transformers 1, Transformers 3, Bumblebee, Rise of the Beasts, Transformers 4, Transformers 5. That's how I would rank them. I feel like I'm missing something there. What's better, Conjuring 2 or Malignant? Conjuring 2. Which Eddie Brock do you prefer, Tom Hardy or Topher Grace? Watch my Spider-Man 3 versus video. My Spider-Man 3 versus Venom video. I answered that question there. In depth. George Phillips, I saw your Power Rangers versus video. Now it has ended. Now it has ended. They're going to make a reboot, darker. Would you watch it? Yeah, because I liked that Power Rangers movie. I haven't seen it since, funnily enough. Did I skip Transformers 2? I'll put Transformers 2 before... But yeah, that's my question, my answer to that. Alright then. Transformers 1, Transformers 3, Bumblebee, Transformers 2, Rise of the Beasts, and then Transformers 4, Transformers 5. There, I hope I got it all. Which is your second favourite movie? Favourite movie of all time would be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Dark Knight is the first, then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the second. I just love the silent movie approach to that. But yeah, I do like the Power Rangers more serious movie. I would like to see it again at some point, actually. While also having some Krispy Kreme donuts, which have also gone up in price and have gone smaller now as well. So yeah. The G Gamer, I'm going to last one more question. I'm assuming you're saying you're going to ask. I'm going to ask one more question. Have you seen the Inside Out 2 trailer, and what are your thoughts on the original? I've not seen the Inside Out 2 trailer, and I liked the original one. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was very emotional and very sad in places, which I did. I did love the emotional core, and Disney are just not like that no more. It's a shame. The Logman. What is the best Lord of the Rings movie? To me, it's The Return of the King. The Return of the King, The Fellowship of the Ring, and The Two Towers. What is better, Conjuring 2 or Conjuring 1? It really depends on what mood I'm in, but I would say Conjuring... Ooh, I love the development between the characters and the Warrens better in the second, but I like the scares in the first movie better. I'd say Conjuring 2 for now, but I keep switching back and forth. I think they're both equally as good as each other, and they both have their own ups and downs. They were great. Jake, who's on the live stream still, your name is still here too, by the way. I thought you had left the live stream, honestly. Where did that go? Jake, where are you? There you are. What's a movie you hate but everyone else loves, and vice versa? A movie I hate that everyone loves. I just thought of one, but I won't do that one. I'll do another one. Cars is a movie that I didn't like, but everyone else liked. I didn't like Cars, but there was also Spider-Man Homecoming, which I didn't like, but everyone else liked. You know, a lot of those MCU movie types. But yeah, I'd say Cars. I remember watching that in the cinema when I was a kid. I asked my dad to let's go see it. We did, and my dad just looked tired when watching it. I felt so bad. It made me realise that's when I realised Cars was the movie that made me realise that just because it says produced by the director of The Incredibles, that doesn't mean that the director of The Incredibles actually made the movie. or had a proper part in making it, like, from the writing perspective or anything. That's what I thought it was, but no, he just produced it, meaning that he just got a paycheck. It's like when Steven Spielberg produces a movie, he doesn't really have a part in it, he just gets a paycheck. So that movie, it changed me in that way. Topher Lloyd. Imagine Disney bought Nickelodeon. I think I just don't want to think about Disney buying anything else, honestly, to be perfectly frank with you. Zilla Universe. I didn't miss Transformers 2. I already said it in there. Transformers 2. I made a point to mention it too. What are your thoughts on The Walking Dead? I only saw season 1. I didn't like it very much. I liked the episodes when they were stuck at the mall or at the corner shop or the street shop, whatever it was, and they had to cover themselves in guts and stuff and walk. But then the rain happened and they got in trouble. That was the best parts of the episode. The first few episodes I thought were great, but I think after the first couple, I just started to get bored of it. And my friend said, no, keep watching it to the end. I watched it till the end of the season. I was like, yeah, this is not really for me. So yeah, I'm not really too into Walking Dead personally, but I did love the Telltales game I played it on my PS Vita back in the day. That was great. That actually made me almost tear up. That made me tear up a little bit at the end, almost. Yeah, a lot of people are obsessed with Walking Dead. So yeah, that's an example of a TV show people love, but I'm not really into. Have you seen the Transformers Prime show? Was that the Netflix one that they released? If it is the Netflix one, the one that was more serious, I didn't like it very much. And the main reason why is because they did not put the music in there properly. The music was just done badly. I thought it was done very badly. I was like, you should do better music than this, dudes. It's like it was not timed with it. It's like they just released it without having any of the music in there. And the music that was there had such little impact, it felt like it was barely even there, and it wasn't syncing to anything. And it just sounded like you're watching a movie, but without the music put in it yet. It wasn't. George Phillips says, wrong one. Yeah, that's not. Then no, I haven't seen it. I've heard of Transformers Prime, but it might. Is that the more colourful one? That's War for Cybertron. Yeah, I was not into that. I wanted to watch season 3, I think it was, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I had to force myself to watch season 2. I remember I wasn't well when I was watching those shows either. I was unwell. I was just having fish fingers and beans because I was really that unwell. 2010 to 2013 is how long it lasted. Wow. Cool. Yeah, but no, I've not seen. I think if I remember correctly, the Transformers Prime show was the more colourful show, and no, I did not watch that. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna call this a stream. I'll give you 2 more minutes. Any more questions? Any more super chats? And then I'll say goodbye to all of you. If Alan Rickman played the villain in the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, yeah, I don't think that would have been the best choice. I think they did get the best choice, but I'm not going to give spoilers as to who they got. What are your thoughts? Caldin Birds says, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man 2? Thought it was good, but lots of underdeveloped ideas, but solid 8 out of 10. Spider-Man 1 is a 9 out of 10 for me. My thoughts on Spider-Man 2, watch my Versus video. I go into full in-depth thoughts of that. But I will say my score has gone up to an 8 out of 10. That's what I'll say about that. Spider-Man 1, yeah, I love Spider-Man 1. I really do. Spider-Man 2, if you want to know my deep thoughts, watch the Versus video. It's a big video. Would you like to see a live-action Injustice show? No, not really. I don't really need to see that in live action. When I was younger, I'd want to see that stuff in live action, but now that I'm older, if I've seen it in video game form or animation, that's good enough for me. It's why I didn't want a live-action Avatar, but they're still doing it. Are you planning to watch the Monarch Legacy of Monsters show? Yes, I am. But just not yet. How would you rank the films in the Predator franchise? Okay, Predator 1, Predator 2, Predator 3, Prey, and then The Predator. Best James Cameron movie, Terminator 2 or Aliens? I'll say Terminator 2. Okay, guys, I think that is it. That is it. I am exhausted, I am hungry, I am tired, and I've still got a lot of work to do for tomorrow, so I might even have to do a bit today as well for Versus video. By work, I mean Versus videos and some other things. So, thanks very much for watching, guys. It was a great, great, great stream. Definitely my favourite one. And it's not just for the super chats, even though that does fill you with this warm feeling that people really do, that you guys really do enjoy my content, that you really do care to support the channel. So, the thing is, you guys are just, you spoil me. You are just, I don't know what I did to get such great viewers. So, thank you very much for your constant support. I really do appreciate it. Stay tuned for my next live stream. I'm trying to do these more often. And, as always, these are the perks on Patreon. If you're interested in catching more of my shows on Patreon, then head on over there and take a look and see what I've got there. I've got plenty more content coming on the way too. Thank you very much, guys, so much for watching, and I will catch all of you very, very soon.